All right, here we go. All right, so this is SNEAKO confronts Playback featuring Tykwondoe and Young Don Reborn. Okay, is it just him? Okay, so I've seen the channel, like I guess it's the Playback channel. I've seen them a little bit. I'm gonna look at, like I've watched a little bit of their stuff. They're pretty cool. I mean, I haven't watched enough to really say, but yeah, it doesn't look like both of them are there. But let's see what we got here. Let's get this going. There's actually they have a follow-up video to it. But okay, let's watch it. Let's watch this.
You talked about
it's so interesting because you know what? Like I've watched some SNEAKO videos. They're interesting. He's obviously a very popular topic. And obviously, I think not a good influence on young men. The biggest thing that I have a problem with, though, with SNEAKO is probably that he just doesn't listen to people when they talk, right? Like I don't think that their ideology is very good. There's a lot of things wrong with it, but you think you'd actually, at the very least, like listen to people, because the thing is when you just come on and scream and go like, "Oh, I've heard this before, I've heard this before, I've heard this before," and then you don't try to work through the line of logic to convert people, then you're just kind of screaming to your audience. That's it. That's all you're doing. And let's be honest, the reason that a lot of young men are feeling so like disenfranchised basically by like the system is because every single time young men are like, I feel like I have a problem in our society, society yells at them and says, you're a man, you can't have problems, right? So you're kind of just, to an extent, doing the same thing, you know? Like you're not actually like, you know, really trying to convert people at this point. It seems like it just seems more like you're trying to yell. So, that'd probably be more effective. But okay.
I don't know what part of the video y'all ended on, so I don't know where
you're saying. You're saying that like there's nuance in conversations. You need to listen to both sides.
Just so you know, I'm Tykwondoe.
Yeah, that's true. There is nuance in conversations. You need to listen to both sides. Why is that like something to mock? Like, how is that an own?
You know what I'm saying? I'm not really knowing all these people, right? And I think that it's important that y'all meet and discuss some of these points, because I think just disagreeing and attacking each other is purposeless for your audience and is y'all as intelligent men. So now let's see where y'all disagree. What's the point?
I disagree. Like Lowe's telling me to go to therapy, and I'm just like, bro, like just don't tell me what to do with my life. Like I'm fine.
That might be a little bit of a line crosser, telling somebody to go to therapy. That might be a little bit of a line. I could see why. It might help. I mean, I think therapy could help anybody, but okay, that might be why I got a little offended. Okay.
Fine.
Bro, that's personal. That's
he said that on the video. You said in the video that I need to go to therapy, right?
Huh?
You told me that I need to go to therapy.
Okay.
Yeah, just don't. You don't.
He does seem like kind of an angry guy. Like, let's be honest. Like, I could see why you'd say that, but it sounds like a little bit of a boundary crosser to like, you got to go to therapy. I could see why it would be considered insulting.
About my mental health. Like, you're not in any place to tell somebody what their mental health problems are.
Why?
I don't think you have to go to therapy because you have mental health issues. I think.
Well, what's the place that you'd have to be in to say that? I wonder what he means by that, because the only reason I say that is because I've seen SNEAKO just decide that since you're fat, you don't have like an opinion on anything. And so like this is one of the problems with SNEAKO is he will instantly invalidate you and your perspective if there's anything that he sees as some kind of like weakness. Like, yeah, let's be honest, you shouldn't be fat in general. Nobody should be fat, but like, you know, it is what it is. It doesn't invalidate your ability to talk about anything. So I'm wondering if that's what it is.
Therapy is just good to just bounce ideas off of somebody else.
All right, yeah, I don't need to.
You feel like it was an attack on your mental health?
Yeah, because like, bro, there's people in here donate every day. Like, oh, therapy is meant for people who have disabilities with their problems with their mental health. There's too many.
Okay, so maybe, I mean, my wife is a behavioral specialist for adults with intellectual disabilities, but so like I have a little bit of that, you know, but therapy's like, I think for more for anybody. But the thing is like, I know SNEAKO thinks that basically young men are having more mental health problems, right? Because they're feeling worse and worse every day. So then wouldn't logically, like, you think that therapy would be good to work through it, or at the very least understand that it would be more necessary for people?
Many people go into therapy and they just go to their cope and talk to people. It's a waste of time.
I disagree.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. We're debating the merits of therapy?
That's what I'm saying. That doesn't seem really purposeful.
Just the fact that,
because I feel like we should. I just haven't looked at the data. I never been to therapy neither.
I mean, I don't think this is the direction we should take the conversation. I think we should more focus on.
Oh, they're all there. I didn't notice the other guy was there. He just doesn't have his camera on. Sorry.
The you know, the grievances, they're like obvious underlying grievances that Low and SNEAKO have with each other in terms of worldviews and maybe even some, you know, personal like opinions of each other. And I think if anything is worth talking about, it would be that.
Okay.
Well, let me say this. I don't have any grievances with SNEAKO. The only grievance I have with SNEAKO was the allegations he was making claims of black people being aggressive. But outside of that, I don't have.
Did he say that? Did he say black people are aggressive? What?
that's what the blood beef with Don about that.
Yeah,
that's how me and SNEAKO became friends.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Outside of that, I don't really have.
Did he say black people were aggressive, or did he just say that there's like a disproportionate amount of like hate crimes towards the Asian community from black communities? Is that the same? Did he say that? Because like that is what the data says. Even the data that Young Don showed that he misinterpreted somehow, but that doesn't mean it's because they're black. I mean, there's a lot of different things. There's systemic racism. There's proximity to each other. There's a bunch of factors. It's not an inherent trait. I just wonder if I didn't personally remember ever seeing SNEAKO say that black people are like aggressive, but I could just be wrong.
Any real grievances with SNEAKO?
Okay.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, actually, I know Lo said he wanted to talk about it on the pod, but since we're here, we might as well. Like I think like a month ago, SNEAKO, you made a video kind of reacting to basically black hate crimes on Asian people, and I think that was a time you went back and forth with the man beside you. I can't say your name, but that debate was very interesting because he had pulled up some facts.
You can't say
Don? Nah, because I'm live on Twitch, so yeah.
Oh, because he thinks he's banned. Okay, well yeah, well
he's live on Twitch, that's why he can't say.
Okay, why would you do that? Like, my understanding is that like you can talk about people who are banned, but you can't like directly converse with them. So maybe you shouldn't have gone live on Twitch with him. Why would you do that? Okay, well, dude, go on YouTube or something. What are you doing? Okay, well, interesting idea, but all right.
Oh, is that how that works?
Yeah. You're John.
Oh wow, no, this can't. No.
Welcome back, John.
Wow.
To you,
John. Can we call him another name for the?
Yeah, you're John. I'm gonna call you John.
I don't know. I don't
it's
like
John.
that. That's what Chris. That's what my family
Chris.
calls me.
Okay, Chris.
That's what my family calls.
Bro, you just shouldn't be on Twitch. Hopefully, he doesn't get banned for that. Damn. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so you and Chris were kind of going back and forth. Lo had some opinions about that. So I think that's kind of his biggest criticism of you. I know, like, and then we can kind of get into the stuff you said with Ava, and then because I had some opinions on that. I didn't watch everything you said.
Because I mean, like, my overall point was that Stop Asian Hate was mostly about black crime, and the misconception was that it was white people. But if you talk to people in New York City, which we did, Don came here and he realized that like maybe I have a point.
But even the data points out to this more white people committing it.
No. Okay, dude, this is such a weird conversation. So when we talk about this, we talk about proportionality. We don't talk about raw numbers. Okay, it's a kind of an irrelevant point because just because black people do commit a disproportionate higher amount of crimes on Asian people doesn't mean that it's an inherent black quality, right? We understand that there's different issues, like more proximity, like generally speaking, people of color are like have less money, and so they'll get categorized into areas that tend to be less safe because they have less access to resources. They go turn to other things like crime to make money, et cetera, et cetera. There's like a direct connection with like lack of money and like higher crime rates, et cetera, right? So it's not because black people are black that there's a disproportionate amount of crime, but there is. We don't look at raw numbers, we look at proportionality. So basically, there are 4 times as many white people as black people in the United States. So let's, generally speaking, that's pretty much how it is for the most part everywhere. So the statistic that Young Don had showed, and I remember looking through my video, showed that like it was like, oh well, the black population was like 15%, but it was like 30% of the hate crimes in Asian people. So like more white people were committing hate crimes, but proportionate to the population, it was proportionally higher amount of black people. Again, it doesn't matter because it doesn't reflect poorly on black people, but like that's the truth of the matter. That's the statistic, the Los Angeles statistic that they brought, because that's what Young Don showed, and I looked into it. So yeah.
Yeah, I know, but data's a bunch of bullshit. It's like written by government. It's just like, but when you actually talk to people who feel,
it's so funny that the data literally works for SNEAKO, and he's still saying that the data is bullshit. Like, you're insane, dude, bro. You just don't know how to interpret data, which is fine. Like, but you're being insane. What are you talking about? The data agrees with you. The data's on your side. What are you talking about?
Research, you get a whole nother, like the data, like that doesn't, the internet and what you see online is very different from reality. And that was my research.
Because think about it though, your anecdotal evidence is specific to the bubble that you live in, which is in New York. It's gonna be different depending on regions, cultures.
New York is the most diverse city in the world.
Well, Toronto is the most multicultural city in the world, and I grew up in.
Why is this is not what?
No. But the point I'm trying to make is that because I grew up in a multicultural bubble, it was a shock to me to move to Niagara, where it was just basically all white people when I went to university. So it doesn't matter just because it's a diverse group of people.
It's a good question. You can ask him this. So, Adrian, how do you feel about? If, let's say, and Logan can answer this too, how do you feel about if the data points in one direction, right? and you do groundwork, right? Like you walk through the city. Now, I'm just taking a neutral approach. I'm trying to make sure everybody makes sense to everyone. The data says this is the extreme. This is what's happening. And I think you go out in the real world, you talk to people, you see what people are thinking and how they're feeling on things, and it points to another direction. What would you make of that?
I think that I'm not versed enough in stats to be able to come to my own conclusions that I feel like have more merit than the people who's supposed to study this. So I took a couple stat classes in university. It would just be presumptuous of me to assume that my research is more efficient or effective or accurate than people whose jobs it is to do it. I don't know. Maybe I just don't. Right. Yeah, I don't want to just.
No. That's definitely a neutral way to take it.
Here's what I mean. I feel like I have like
context matters too with stats.
I feel like coming out here, going to Flushing and like talking to people. This is what I think happened, right? I think the statistics do bear out that overall hate crime wise, right? Statistically, it is proven that white people commit the most hate crimes. Yeah. However, if I'm going to be honest, right, looking back at it now, it did not differentiate. Actually, let me back it up. The problem is, and we talked about this with China Mac, a lot of the violent crimes that were being committed against Asians, I don't know what the current state of the climate is now, were crimes of passion or crimes of opportunity, right? Yeah, they're crimes of opportunity.
So what's reported is hate crimes, and what's actually going on is like a lot of crimes. Yeah, like hate crimes, and like the Stop Asian Hate thing is not just hate crimes; it's overall just attitude.
So your point is the data just doesn't capture.
Yes, the data does not accurately represent what is frustrating.
And what did you conclude
the people?
That you can't believe everything you read, like the hate crime statistics of the government.
The statistics are fine. It's just that you guys aren't really interpreting the right way. This is like a weird. This is a weird thing. Here. I don't even know why they're talking about this because like it's like so irrelevant. Okay, so if we look at this is a study for LA. Now it could be different in every area, but it's probably like relatively accurate. But that's the statistic they use. They use LA. Right? So if you look at this, where the subjects were identified, there's a lot of factors. 42% of hate crimes against Asian people were from white people, 36% from Latino, 19% from African American, right? If you look at the statistics, 52% of people are white in this area, right? So you would expect it to be about 52%. Of course, Asian people aren't going to be factored in a hate crime, but they're about like 1.3%, so we don't really necessarily have to like do anything super crazy. You'd expect to see hate crimes from white people at about 52%. Then you look at like I guess you look at black people is 8%, but they have 19% of the hate crimes, right? So you see how it's like about like roughly I guess you'd say like 80%, 52% of the population is white, but only 42% of the hate crimes are coming from white people, whereas 8% of the population is black, but 19%. Again, this doesn't reflect poorly on black people, but this is how you would like accurately like read statistics, right? This is how you would like look at this and go, oh, there is a disproportionate amount of hate crime. And then you could talk about like, proximity, et cetera, other things that we talked about as to the reason why, proximity, poverty, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But like, I just want you guys to be people to be aware because I feel like it's like a weird statistic to get bogged down on. So yeah, and yeah, okay.
I actually agree with you on that.
I don't think anybody can refute that.
No. But like I'm saying, when you look at studies, you don't believe them blindly, right? They got to be peer-reviewed, one, but you also look into their research methods to see how they came to those conclusions. But you can find faulty research methods because a lot of times,
what's labeled as a hate crime is you need to say like call someone a chink in the armor and then shove them over. But that's not how hate crimes happen. That wasn't what Stop Asian Hate was about.
I agree, and I think a lot of times people will.
It's just so bizarre that the statistics are in SNEAKO's favor, and he's whatever. It doesn't matter.
Studies will be biased to the conclusion that they want. So if they already think something, they're going to look and find evidence to prove that conclusion, and they'll conclude it regardless.
They could, not always, but okay.
So I think the goal should be to find a diverse group of studies. Like if there's only one study supporting a topic, even though it might be true, it's weak. Because you need more research to be more certain about something before you just boldly claim it to be the case. I think you can make generalizations and some of the times they can be true, but when you talk in absolutes, I feel like you should have a lot more research backing that up.
Yeah, maybe they'll reference you in articles. Okay,
but I value field research over that. I just go over the general attitude and I talk to people on a regular basis. I talk to everybody.
All right, but like that's okay. So it doesn't matter what your field research says because it's like coming from like incredibly biased source. Like here's the thing, because I know SNEAKO does on the ground stuff, and that's totally cool. I'm not trying to shit on him, but everybody who does field, okay. When people go on the ground and they do videos like your short videos, like Flecka's or SNEAKO or anybody who's going around, they do it on like the Daily Show. They're going out there with like a reason. Like when you watch the Daily Show or whatever, and they're going and they're like dunking on Trump supporters at Trump rallies, they're there for like hours. They're there for the whole day. They're there for like 5-10 hours. And then their segment is 3 minutes, right? Well, why do you think that is? They're there to look for a particular way to portray a particular thing and then show you that's what these people are like. So it's hard to do like field research because that's how these things manifest. So they're looking for dumb Trump supporters to make them look dumb, right? That's what they're doing. That's what, like, so, you know, you have an individual bias. Maybe you're looking for more black people to be more aggressive to Asian people. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but it's not like you look at like overall data statistics, right? Like you look at the raw numbers, like what's the hate crime? Oh, well, if the person that committed the hate crime is of this ethnicity, it's less emotional. Statistics are less emotional like that, so they're usually just going to have better results.
I know I'm not biased, and so I was trying to talk about the fact. What I
well,
really
you
want to
are,
talk about was how Asian people all generally thought that, almost all of them, but they were just afraid to say it because Asians, like if you say anything negative about black people, you're labeled a racist immediately. And Asians are timid. Asians don't want to come out and speak up about that. And so just like what Hat Low said, like, I don't like you said we're aggressive. That's not what I said. I'm talking about how people aren't honest about it. People cannot say what they really feel. People are like, we're all lying at the stop. We're all lying out these protests.
Communities and black communities goes back.
What do you think about that, Lo?
It goes back far.
I mean, I guess it really wouldn't matter about the data then. I understand what he's saying. I understand everybody questioning the data, but then you would then proceed to then question SNEAKO's field data because then everybody would have biases. Like we can't act as if like people aren't human. So even the people that you were questioning, they would also have biases. People have preferences and biases towards one person or another. So
can we get to the video? Like, what else did you say in the video? I want to react to the rest of it. But
how much have you watched?
We watched the first 4 minutes, and you're talking about how like the red pill's dangerous and toxic, and it hurts people's feelings.
That was right.
Okay.
What else did you say? Can you summarize real quick so we can talk about it?
Yeah, did they say that?
Okay, Lo, you summarize your points. I'll summarize my points. So we can talk about it.
I mean, my points are just in short. Like everybody's goal in life isn't to reach the same objective. People have different.
I'm sorry to interrupt before he goes. My thing with the red pill shit is that it's sexist. Like it paints all women as bad in general. Like some of the stuff's not horrible, like teaching young men to like do better, et cetera, et cetera. Identifying an obvious problem where like young men, there's problems with men in society where they are just like there are male privileges, but there are also male disprivileges. But since men aren't considered a marginalized group because, like, you know, historically men have dominated the sphere, we don't give a fuck about that. But then you look at the statistics and you see like an increase of suicidality. There seems to be like a higher pressure for men to succeed in society. There's less welfare advantages. There's more homeless men. So it's like, okay, well, you know, and instead of like, especially social media, which is very like, you know, in your face, saying like, we get it. They're just saying, fuck you, kill all men, right? So, like, that's the problem with that. So I get that. But a lot of it's, like, founded on all women are shit, all women are thoughts, all women are horrible. And then this weird idea that SNEAKO has that all men can be rich. It's bizarre. I don't think it's teaching, like, proper values, talking about how, like, it's okay for a man to cheat versus a woman. Like, it's just not respectful. And it's dismissive of women and, like, their value. It's weird. And I think that's the biggest part of it I have a problem with. More than anything else, like if you want to try to be rich as fuck, go for it. But not everybody can be, and you don't need to do it on the by calling women less than.
Different nuances. So the core premise of what we believe in, and for example, if the core premise of what we believe in is just working hard, like hard working that can result in some type of monetary gain, that in and of itself is a fundamental truth that we could live by. What you then proceed to do with that money is nuances between one person and another. Right. So if you want to buy clothes and cars and shit like that, and I don't, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm right and you're wrong. It just means that our end goal in life is drastically different.
Objects. I want to get money to make it out of the shit because the West is done. We have no more morals, and I need to leave. And I want to be completely free. And the government's cracking down, and I know that they're going to try to silence me. Then I know that they're going to try to take away my shit for the shit I talk about. So I need to get up out of here.
You think who's going to try to silence you and take your stuff away? Like, why do you think the government cares that much about you specifically? I'm just saying, like, what's the motivation here? What is the thought process behind the government's going to get me? I just feel like it's a little unhinged. But okay.
You take that stance, and he takes the stance of allowing people to choose the life that they want.
I don't tell people what they can do, but I'm warning people that they're going to shut us down again. The monkey shit's coming, and there's going to be another lockdown. So we need to start preparing for that, and we need to open up our minds and not let ourselves succumb to the peer presseur and the fear mongering that happened with the COVID.
All right.
Like, listen, the monkeypox. I don't really know too much what's going on. It seems like it's starting to become a bit of a threat. I mean, I'll get the vaccine, but like, I don't know that we're going to shut down. People are probably tired of that. What I will say is, again, you can't just dismiss like actual factual COVID statistics. You know, we had like 6.5 million deaths from COVID. We don't just magically call everything a COVID death. It has to do with excess mortality rates. Like we get to stop pretending that it doesn't. We have like statistical data, which I know SNEAKO will just dismiss as like silly, sussy bullshit. But we have data that tells us how many people generally die, like even every single day in any part of the world, in your robust countries like America, in that part of the world. Like a lot of other countries don't have the ability to do that. And you go, well, 30,000 more people died today than they did for the last 10 years in a row. So probably COVID related, since COVID is killing people, right? That's how we track these types of statistics. I don't want to lock down either. It seems like the monkeypox transmits a lot through like, I guess more like physical contact. So I guess that's a good thing. You could be safe as long as you're, aware of that in some capacity. Seems like there's a lot of like STD related aspects to it too.
So
wait, hold on. Let's stay on topic.
People choose,
that is the topic.
Let's stay on topic of the point of like where y'all disagree. So and then Lo says, if someone wants to have a ranch and a farm and 3 kids and 2 jobs, then they can do that. I don't see where you guys should disagree on that.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I mean, so my take was, you're pro generalizations. I'm against them, mainly because I felt people had made generalizations about me growing up, and I felt it was unfair for me to do on other people as a result. Because I was in an area, SNEAKO, that was majority Asian. Most of my friends were Chinese growing up. And they were cool, but their parents would come in with their own ideas of what they believe, and they would think I was a bad friend just off the strength of my skin color. And it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that a lot of people don't talk about is that, like, in general, a lot of people are very racist, and like it's a very disproportionate towards black people that come in from other countries. There's like this idea that they like even from. Or maybe it's not black people. Maybe it's like black Americans. Like there's ideas that like it's like this idea that like black people are like whatever lazy and whatnot. Black Americans. Like I've talked to like Nigerian people. They're like, yeah, that's like the stereotype in our community as well. It's actually kind of fucked up. So that's probably the reason for that.
That's what it is. We were still friends. I would still go to their house, but I would see the way they would look at me. And so that's fine. I'm just against generalizations just based off of my own experiences. I also argued that red pill, even though I think at the core is based on truth, finding your purpose, self-improvement, I think it can manifest itself in toxic ways that I don't agree with. And those are the main 2 points that I stuck to in the video. Because, I mean, that's something you told me when we were talking a couple days ago. You said red pill is the truth. I said, I think there's truth to it. But you'd be lying if you didn't say that a lot of the way it's exercised is not manipulative in nature. And if your goal at the end of the day is just to have sex and fuck as many women as you can.
It's not just about bitches. And like that's why we were talking, like Don and Ty were going back and forth about, hold on. We're going back and forth about like game and stuff like that. The red pill is just understanding the reality of the world. That everything is designed to keep us programmed. Everything is designed to keep us complacent and go to therapy and not be in shape and just be like, and then get a job and then let other people have all the control and do whatever they want. So while they're going to lock us in.
This is so funny because this is the same argument as like for like ANCAPs, like anti-capitalist. Well, I guess it's anarcho-capitalist, so that's not how you would accurately portray that. But this is like a very similar argument from people who are very like from those individuals. It's like, the system is against us. It was designed to be against us. We need to change. It's so interesting. Like what SNEAKO is saying isn't really a unique thing. It's been said in different ways amongst a lot of people. I hear conservatives saying very similar things and progressives. Just their understanding of how to deal with it is different, or their methodology is different. And it's like interesting that I'm just to be honest with you. It just feels like people think that like SNEAKO thinks that like he's saying something that nobody's heard before, but we're all saying it in different ways across different things. Like, yeah, there's a lot of issues where like it's basically like the rich are like basically oppressing other people by not properly redistributing wealth. There's so much money at the top. We have technological advances that should be making things easier for everybody, but they seem to be only designed or used rather to make the line pockets of people, rich people. So
down for the monkey shit.
All right, hold on. You about to go into.
They're going to be able to do it. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm explaining the red pill. This is the red pill time.
This agreement was on the statements you make, which are.
Well, I'm telling you that the red pill.
Women,
oh my god.
COVID is a trap,
bro. You're not letting me fully explain it. The red pill is bigger. There's a reason why women make. Look, listen. There's a reason that women make no sense, and that's why I talk about that because they're feeding them this feminist idea that's brainwashing them.
But what is it? Wait, women just not make any sense. Like SNEAKO doesn't ever make any sense. What is he talking about?
Women empowerment. Women are impressed, but men are way more of the self-delete. We delete ourselves 5 times more. We're more almost homicide victim. We die sooner.
Well, it's not 5 times. It's an attempt rate, but it is higher for sure.
We're lonelier. We're getting sadder, and people don't talk about it. And we act like
that's true. That's what I'm talking about. Those things are real, right? He's not wrong about that. But he's pretend. This is so crazy. SNEAKO, this is so annoying because, okay, I was saying before, I think the biggest problem is that like there are men's issues nobody cares about because they're not considered a marginalized group, and so it's like people just dismiss them. But SNEAKO's just doing the same thing in reverse, saying, well, you know what? Actually, women have no problems, and it's all men. But the reality is that there are privileges and disprivileges to being men and women, both in different ways. Like, that's the reality. Men tend to have more access to opportunity in our society because they tend to just be like respected a little bit more on face value. Women tend to get pushed into like different categories. Frankly, men are just stronger than women, so they tend to be able to have more just physical, like biological advantages in some different fields. I'm just being honest with you. But then, like, yeah, men have like a more pressure on to succeed on society. That's why there are more women on welfare programs and less men on welfare programs. That's why there's more homeless men on the street. You know, that's why like the suicide rate is higher for men. Like, these things exist, but like we have to stop pretending that one side is privileged and the other side isn't, and understand that there are different unique problems for different groups of people across the board. And instead of bridging the gap and saying that, to be like, yeah, you know what, that's true, there's an issue I might face as a man that a woman doesn't, but then on the other hand, a woman might face an issue that I don't face, like just being afraid to go out at night, right? That's a huge women issue. Instead of acknowledging this and working to like try to remove these issues as much as possible, it's always one versus the other. That is the biggest fucking problem. It really is.
Women are oppressed in the West, and they're not at all. And
They
all
are.
these women are in their whole phase. All these women are
Like, bro, like seriously, like there is oppression still. Like, just, it exists. We said it before. Women, a lot of women have to be afraid to go out at night because they might get like raped, right? Like, I'm not saying men don't have problems, but like we have to pretend like there's not issues just because you don't see them. And of course you don't. You're a guy. You're not going to see these women's issues. Just like women aren't going to see men's issues because they're women. Like, that's the problem. This is why we have like this is where these biases come from. That's the thing.
running around saying like, I'm a queen, I'm perfect, and they're literally delusional. And hold up,
that's immature women. Men do the same thing. You're like, go respect women more, and you'll find more women that will respect you. I'm just saying.
The reason they think that it's the ideology trickling down from the top. There's a reason that in Pride, there's children sitting there and their moms are bringing them, and they're like, I just want to open up my kid and make him be an ally. And there's literally like old men butt ass naked at Pride, and they think that it's woke, but in reality, they're just being brainwashed. If you watch What Is a Woman?
I mean, it's not brainwashed, but like there is an issue in my opinion of like over sexualization and like the Pride parades. I do. It's supposed to be about like celebrating LGBTQ heroes like Stonewall, and it's gone a little bit too sexual in my opinion. I can agree with that, but it's not some kind of weird programming, right? It's really commercialism of it. I think a lot of it's that like they're selling a lot of products at Pride because it's a popular event, and like people go there and they do activism that they shouldn't be doing. This is like a problem. You could sign up a fucking PETA. PETA goes to the Pride parade and they tell you not to eat animals. That's irrelevant to gay shit. Okay. Nobody fucking cares, but you can do that. Same thing with people there to like promote marijuana usage. Like, why? It's supposed to be celebrating like fucking LGBTQ progress, but then you have people that are celebrating like, oh, let's have like a fucking gay bear assless chap thing. It's like you don't need to do these things, and that's like kind of an issue, right? That's a problem, but it's not like this weird programming thing.
And you realize that all the people going through trans surgery and stuff like that, all these people who think that they're gender neutral, gender binary, is brainwashing from evil people. So the red pill.
But that's not true either. So like, they're not going to push back on it because it's like something that like takes a little bit like of, you know, you have to have like conversations about it. Okay, so oh my god, I can't believe we're doing trans fucking conversation again. Okay, listen, here's the thing. There are people. There's different categories of people. Fucking Jesus, we're gonna have to go through like a really nuanced take here. Okay, when it comes to people who identify as LGBTQ. You notice that it's disproportionately higher in like freer areas. So like if you look at California versus like Alabama, there's a lot more people that are identifying as LGBTQ, specifically youth, which is like up to 20 or 40%, versus like Alabama, which is almost non-existent. There's two reasons for that. Reason number one is the fact that it's just people feeling comfortable to be able to just be themselves, right? Because you won't get hate crimes for being gay in California, but you have a higher chance, of course, of happening in Alabama, and your community is going to frown upon it, right? That's one. Two, young kids, I think a lot of them in general can be annoying, and they'll just pretend to be something. Oh, I'm not all of them. There are like real people who are like gay and LGBTQ and like non-binary, but so a lot of younger people especially, they want to be quirky, they want to be unique, they want to be individual. Some people are falsely identifying. I think that's a lot of them. I think that there are also some people, maybe they're just exploring their gender or sexuality at a young age, which a lot of people do. We like to pretend that they don't, but it's like kind of the reality. You know, when I was like 12, 13, 14 years old, like, you know, you're starting to think about, oh shit, do I find wiener hot? It's a thing that you go through as a kid. If you're saying you don't, I don't know what to fucking tell you. You're just not being honest, right? People do that shit. And then there's probably people misdiagnosing themselves as like non-binary because they have other mental health problems, right? There's not brainwashing, okay? So we have to stop saying it's brainwashing. There are people that actually have like gender dysphoria. There are real non-binary people, but like, yeah, of course, there are people who are just trans-trending, basically. That's a real thing that happens, but it doesn't mean that you get to say everybody is trans-trending, right? I mean, that's kind of the reality here, okay?
Is brainwashing. The red pill is realizing that we are being brainwashed and waking up to it. There's a reason why people make no sense, and there's a reason why it's bigger than just women. It's realizing the reality of the world.
Women, because that's one of the...
No, I get that. So you think...
I talk about everything.
But that's one of the symptoms of the topic.
Yes, and that's what goes viral on TikTok, because like basic ass people don't know how to see further than that. So what goes viral is just me talking about the delusional women.
So what do you think about the men who hype you up when you make messages?
Don't you think that if there's like a system that's meant to be designed like against whatever you're saying and doing, don't you think that they wouldn't allow it to go on TikTok? Like, you're saying that like, oh, you're speaking the truth and they're trying to silence you, but then at the same time you're saying that you're right and they're wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would they, or that they're trying to suppress certain information? Like, what doesn't that make no sense? You can't really combine those two, right? Like, it doesn't really make that much sense, I feel like. But okay.
Messages that say some shit like, that bitch this and that bitch that. What does that say about the message and the people?
That bitch. I say bitch all the time. What's
not.
Wait, hold on.
I haven't seen them specifically, but when
what's your point?
Or toxic in the red pill aspect of women.
Toxic?
Yeah. Yes.
Toxic how?
I don't even remember the point specifically, but
hey, SNEAKO, do you feel like different people in the red pill community have like a different definition?
Well, he's talking about messaging, right? So like when you're disrespectful to women and shit, like it looks bad for your ideology. I mean, it's like that's why people are like, yeah, it's based on being disrespectful, because that's what it seems to be.
The red pill?
No, the red pill is just the truth. That's the whole idea. It comes from the Matrix, the red pill, the blue pill. The red pill wakes you up and you see the reality of the world. The blue pill is just being and just living in the... That's what I'm saying. You guys are blue pilled.
Bro, dude, it's just... Isn't it so funny that like you're basing your entire like your philosophy, you're basically like to an extent of your religion on a fucking Matrix movie with Keanu Reeves? Like you're like, oh, the government's trying to control us all. Everything's control. And then you listen to a movie about like... Because like if the government's controlling everything, wouldn't they control... Fuck, I just lost. Wouldn't they control the movies as well? Like, right? Am I wrong about that? Like,
you guys and Abin preach are like, okay, everybody, blah, and you're encouraging complacency with your commentaries. Okay. Like, well, there's both sides. No, there's a truth. Most of us mean nothing. We don't matter, and we're just pawns in the system, and we can get out of that. I'm trying to encourage my chat to get money so we can get out of it and wake up.
Bro, everybody's pushing this ideology like across the board in every political sphere in some capacity. You're not unique. It's kind of funny.
Wait, hold on. Out of curiosity, let me feed the thought. How do you get out of that outside of like getting money? Like, if you know we're being programmed. You're saying that like people, like the basic people, resonate with like the toxic like women stuff you be talking about, but they don't be listening to the other shit you're saying. If people aren't willing to listen to it, how do you feel like you could bring people out of this?
Wait, that's actually a really good point. Like, how many people do you think are like legitimately listening to your points, and how many people do you think this thing is like, oh my god, SNEAKO's so base for thinking women are stupid? Because that's kind of most likely what's happening. Is people aren't really giving a fuck about what you're saying. They just think it's really funny and based that like, oh, women stink. Like, I used to make like a lot of like ownage SJW videos when I was like bigger on TikTok, because like I like to make some fun. I thought, well, first of all, there were some issues with like, you know, things getting a little too progressive at one point, but then also like I like to have fun and make jokes. But like a lot of people, I thought everybody was the same as me. Hey, we're all just having fun and making jokes, but we know that this isn't real, right? But no, turns out people actually fucking thought that it was real, and like you know, you end up having you're spreading the wrong message about shit. So like, yeah, it's a factor, man. It is absolutely a fucking factor. I just lost again, bro. I'm gonna fart in my mouth. What the fuck's happening?
They come on TikTok from the viral clips and me making fun of women, and then they see me talking about the tap water's poison. They see me talking about Jeffrey Epstein. I talk about everything.
Getting money isn't the only.
Bro, everybody thinks Jeffrey Epstein like did it, like, right? We don't. Like, what's the uniqueness of the Jeffrey Epstein thing? I'm just being absolutely honest with you. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean?
You could just abandon the whole system.
Yeah, like, the easiest way to abandon the system is to get money. You have to be rich enough to.
I disagree. Wouldn't you say the easiest way is to just move?
That's what I'm saying. You could just.
The government could seize your.
Well, okay. First of all, the government can seize your assets. You're talking about what?
Assets.
You're talking about moving out of country, and now you're saying you can't move. So at this point, you're a literal contrarian with like no actual like moral basis to what you're saying. You're just saying everything that people that will disagree with people. But additionally, it's you can't just leave. Like, I don't know why people think like this is a very kind of like a privileged perspective. Just leave. So like, what's stopping me? They're talking about black issues before. What's stopping me from just saying like, oh, if you live in a bad area, why don't you just leave? Oh, well, I don't have the money. Wow, incredible. You know what I mean? Like, why does it stop in like a particular spot? You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about?
The government can take everything you have.
It is. Hey,
all right, sure. Yeah, okay. You can walk around with a backpack, sure, but I don't want to do that. Okay, fine, bro. What are you talking about? You want to walk around with a stick in the
But you're talking about making money to leave. What you're saying, you're just being a fucking contrarian at this point. Like, you're not even being honest anymore. Like, well, not that you ever were. Or like, are you thinking about what you're saying before you say it? You're being insane.
seizing assets is they would have to come up with a reason for them to seize your assets. People live in communist China and they find a way to launder their money and move out of China. So
it's incredibly difficult, and those people tend to be either like refugees or people who escape with like no money, or really rich people who have the opportunity to leave. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's not that easy. Like, this really gets into the market of like you know, you just need to pick yourself up by your bootstraps, which is not bad advice to say work as hard as possible, but it's not easy for everybody to just do a thing.
It's definitely easier to move out of the United States than it is to move out of China. So I'm saying the easiest way is really just to leave the country, because depending on which country you go to, they're gonna have different morals, different culture.
I feel like we're again like this wasn't the grievances that were being expressed in the initial video.
Well, yeah, but it's still like a point to push on. Why not push on the point unless we're like afraid to like talk about it? Is that what the problem is?
We're trying to like talk about he's trying to explain the truth about red pill, and he's saying the truth of red pill is that we're all being programmed. He's trying to break the line. Yes, we are all being programmed. But that's kind of where the conversation's gone, because we're kind of debating the merits of red pill, and you kind of have to dive into it. And the conversation might
like low, like you're overweight and you're telling me to go to therapy. That's programming.
How is that programming? Like, it's you can. Oh my god. This is what I was saying before. He just wants to dismiss people because he wants to be very. Fuck, I keep losing. He wants to be very lazy about it. Right? So, like, yes, people are overweight. That's a particular problem. Most of the people who are overweight are usually overweight as, like, that's their coping mechanism, right? Like, and it's not a good thing. It's, like, it's objectively bad to be overweight, guys, okay? Hot take, you shouldn't be fat. Listen, I know. Really fucking based, right? The thing is that just because one person has a problem of being overweight doesn't mean that other people can't have problems. It's a really, really lazy way to engage in the conversation without actually having to engage in the conversation. Like, it's just a really like lazy way to just be like, nah, fuck you. You know, you suck. Like, you know, it's not like an intelligent way to actually engage with what's going on. So
I'm fine. I don't need you to tell me what to do with my mental health. Maybe you should go to the gym. But I'm not here saying that because, like, your feelings, you don't say that at first, and, like, I've been thinking it on the podcast, but you don't say it because...
You always say it to everybody you disagree with. You're trying to pretend like, I'm a nice guy, I don't say it. You always say it. You don't shut the fuck up about it. It's annoying and childish. What are you talking about? This guy's... He's like unhinged, dude. What are you talking about? You always say it.
It's your feelings. But the fact that you're in a position, you think you're in a position to talk about my mental health, to tell me to go to therapy while you're that overweight, makes no sense. That's programming.
SNEAKO, wait, I'll respond. You wouldn't be hurting my feelings if you told me to go to the gym. All right, just be clear. Secondly,
people get offended when you say that. People would hear it and go, why would you say that?
I don't. Well, I mean, like, I guess Ryan Beard did, but like he said to me, I just kept laughing because it's such a preposterous point. I think he's kind of like, you're just kind of making, like, people, like, I know I need to lose weight. Like, people know that they need to lose weight, right? Like, when you say, like, you need to lose weight, people aren't like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I've never heard this before. Like, it's the most part, people are like, yeah, that's probably true. But that doesn't mean other issues don't exist. I mean, like, you know, it's interesting that people are so sensitive about telling, like, SNEAKO pretends to that he's being sensitive about, like, weight loss, but, like, the reality is that SNEAKO doesn't really know a lot of things and pretends to, and nobody insults his intelligence. But, like, he says a lot of fucking, like, insane shit all the time. And nobody's like, SNEAKO, you know, you're being kind of, like, stupid right now, right? Like, people are just like, yeah, but, you know, this is a conspiracy. People are very reasonable with him. But the second that he can, he's as, like, disrespectful as possible, right? Like, remember when SNEAKO had a meltdown because he's like, you questioned my masculinity? Because, what ended up happening? He was, like, crying that I questioned his masculinity. I said maybe if he respected women more, he's not a real high value male, because maybe if he respected women more, maybe they would, like, respond to him better. And he had a fucking meltdown, right? But the thing is that, like, he's like, you question my message. You always try to do this. Everybody tries to do this. But then, like, what is he doing even before that? Oh, well, you know, if you look at it, I mean, like, you know, you have, like, action figures in the background, and, like, that's kind of stupid. And it's like, dude, every opportunity you get, you're acting very disrespectful. And then when you perceive somebody to be disrespectful to you, you go on, like, you have a fucking meltdown, right? So,
well, you shouldn't. I mean, you're talking to me. I don't really care about how somebody else feels about it. Secondly, more importantly, ironically, everything you just said about the red pill and how people just generalize red pill about women, and it's way bigger than that. I said that in the video, so I actually agree, which is so funny to me because a lot of things you say.
Watching the video.
I'm just saying. I'm just letting you know. I'm just letting you know. There's something else that I agree with you. That yes, there are generalization that's being made, but for whatever reason, there is a point of it being stuck to it, and because of that, that's what ends up happening. To the point where you can even argue that TikTok is programming people because they're
like people on both sides are gonna, like, they're just thinking that it's like base sexism, and then, like, that's why there's a lot of people who follow it, and that's why it gets the bad rap, because it's very disrespectful. Like, yeah, of course. I mean, that makes perfect sense. Yeah,
they're only feeding them. No, but what I'm saying is they're only feeding them that side of red pill, even YouTube to an extent as well, because I do find it very fascinating. Because I think Fresh and Fit, they do a really good job of consistently uploading other aspects of of red pill, fitness, credit, et cetera, and people still don't watch those videos for whatever reason, but they only watch the women shit, whatever.
Well, yeah, because that's like the loudest part about it. It makes it look the worst, and they do it on purpose. Like they do it to be provocative, right? Like Fresh and Fit know what they're doing when they're putting out these like fucking like these crazy videos. Let's be honest.
What you about to say?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that this is where I said to SNEAKO that the one thing he had to say was, I think this is where your real disagreement is. Yes, we all agree that social programming happens on all apps, all platforms. Other people do what they do to contribute to that, right? Your stance was that he feels like when you guys take a neutral standpoint on things, right, to try to be safe or censored or politically correct, would you say, right?
Yeah.
That you're contributing to the matrix.
You're encouraging blue pill, like you're encouraging the program.
That's where his take on, and that's why I say he should have just right to try to be safe or censored or politically correct. With platforms, other people do what they do to contribute to that, right? Your stance was that he feels like when you guys take a neutral standpoint on things, right, to try to be safe or censored or politically correct, would you say, right?
Yeah.
That you're contributing to the matrix.
You're encouraging blue pill.
So this is the problem, and it comes down to SNEAKO. When you like don't agree with SNEAKO, he instantly assumes that you're like dishonest about your perspective. When you take a neutral standpoint, you're just doing but like you're pretend. The undertone is that they're intentionally doing it just so that they can appear more like politically correct. But what if people just like that's the thing? It's like every time you disagree with SNEAKO, he writes you off as somebody who's just pandering. It's like that's not everybody. Like there are genuine people who are like genuinely trying to like actually talk about this shit. And when you act so divisive, you're just pushing people away from like the ideology. Like it doesn't seem like you have a particular interest in educating people. You seem more to like you just want to be angry and yell.
You're encouraging the program.
And that's where his thing went. And that's why I say he should have just asked y'all. Oh no, I asked you. I said, what's the difference between trying to be objective and hearing both sides? And
because both sides are not right. There's a truth and there's not a truth.
But I know, but SNEAKO thinks he's right, and like it's so interesting because everybody thinks that they're right, but SNEAKO puts no effort into actually communicating why he thinks he's right. So even if he is right, nothing he says is like intelligible. Like you can't listen. He just screams and goes like all the time. It's like fucking dumb. How many times in this conversation he'll be like, oh, you just go. What does that mean? You're just vocalizing. You're just making a sound. What am I supposed to pick up from this like ideology when you just make dumb fucking sounds the whole time? So even if you're right, which you're not, I don't think, you don't articulate yourself. You don't do your ideology any justice. So how the fuck is anybody supposed to think that you're in the right ever?
Be objective enough to hear both sides. That's why I said.
Yeah, but I've heard both sides. Program people all say the same fucking shit. There's no.
Yeah, but like I hear the same fucking thing out of him and Andrew Tate and every one of these other high value men. It's the same program shit. Like you keep saying program. You live in a conspiracy world. Like how long until people will go like, wow, this guy, like your turn at this point, SNEAKO really is kind of like a fucking lol cow at this point. I mean, it is kind of true. Like it's unfortunate because he's probably a lot smarter. Like he is. Like I've seen some of his other content. He's actually is like he's not a dumb person. But the way he engages with his ideology is dumb. Right? That's the problem. He's not dumb, but he engages with his ideology in a dumb way, by just being dismissive and doing like making dumb fucking sounds all the time. All the fucking time. And he's disrespectful. That's the reality. That's it. There's probably some really good things from what he's saying, but I don't even think he knows it because he doesn't even explore what he thinks. I think he just says things. Like he just says things because they make him feel good because he's angry and he feels like men are getting a bad shake, which I think is a fair thing to feel. And then he's just angry. And then he's just yelling at the system, at the world. Right? But a lot of people are. But he's dismissing all those people as well.
Hearing it, you all have the same exact opinion because it comes from the top. You're told to say this. Everybody has the right opinion.
Let's take a specific one and we can.
The jab. Right. Everyone has the same exact opinion about it. Biden, voting, trusting the government. All the same.
The jab, bro. I don't know what to tell you. Like, okay. That's just the reality with this whole like COVID's a conspiracy. With all the precautions we took globally, 6.5 million people died, 1 million in the United States. Okay, these aren't magical statistics. Oh, they count car crashes. No, not really, because the way we've tracked COVID deaths is from excess mortality rates. Right, the amount of people who died statistically over the past however like 50 years, we have statistics of like how many people die per day, per year, etc. Like really broken down in America. We have a robust system for this. But during COVID, those numbers spiked. Those numbers spiked up because people were dying of COVID, right? So we got vaccines and they generally worked a lot better. They weren't perfect, but they worked. But it's a virus, it evolves quickly, so now it's not as effective anymore, right? But like you're saying like, oh, well, it wasn't that bad. It was not that bad in your opinion because you probably didn't live by it or experience it, but additionally because people did take precautions. This was as bad as it got because of the precautions we took.
Same shit.
Ironically, I said the exact same thing in the video. Later, I know you haven't heard it, but later on in the video, I said the same thing about the government. How people just, for whatever reason, they pick a side and they only speak about Democrats, even though a Republican like Donald Trump could say 2 + 2 is 4, and then the Democrats are still fighting to urge it, and it still could be some level of truth behind what's being had. People pick sides.
You're stereotyping. I think that's what's going on.
So literally, a lot of things that you're saying, I not only did I say in the video, but I've said in several other videos. I don't know why you are acting as if like there aren't things that I've agreed on. It's just the extremes, the extreme links that you bring it out to. Once more, the fundamental aspects we agree on. You work hard, you get a result from it. It should then allow you some form of freedom and liberty to do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, sure.
We agree on that. It's the extent of what do you do with those liberties that you were saying. If you decide to do X, Y, Z with these liberties, then you're then wrong. For example, when Abba was sitting there trying to explain to you, yo, you get to a point in life where fucking women just isn't the end goal. Like there's more to it. You'd like to do other things with your life, such as commune with other people in your family. You were sitting there, he sat there and said, yo, at one point, you know, pussy ain't really gonna work. You were like, no, man, no. And it's like the idea that you couldn't grasp that. It's like, yes, for sure. If that's what you want to do, fine. But if somebody else decides that they want to go out and live life with their family after you also work hard,
30 and you don't want to fuck pussy anymore, then go ahead. Like, but that's not gonna be me.
I know, but your result from that wasn't, hey, you do your thing, I do my thing. Your result was, nah, it's his testosterone that got too low, and now all of a sudden he no longer has much red pill.
Pussy anymore, then you just testosterone's low.
Not new pussy. You don't want
the problem is that like it's about new pussy, yeah, and it's just like, dude, like you grow up as a person, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. Like that's the whole fucking thing, man. You get older, you grow up, you change. You don't have the same fucking priorities anymore. Like life fucking goes on, man.
You want to run around and chase new pussy all day. That's what I'm saying.
All day? No, not all day. I want to have 10 loyal ones in the kitchen standing there obeying me. Saying, yes, sir.
But if somebody only wants one, that doesn't mean that all of a sudden, like, the testosterone, or it just means they value other things in life.
No, but if someone wants only one like you, then you get on the thing and say, well, I wouldn't go to a sex party and watch my girl. When, bro, the reason I went on that podcast and started talking about that, you know why. And then you still took the side of like the fucking YouTube troll comment. Like, I personally wouldn't let that happen. Like, bro, you want to be with one girl.
Yeah, I personally wouldn't let my fucking wife fuck other guys because that's what he's talking about. Yeah, personally wouldn't let that happen either. Why would you want to? Like, I'm possessive. I think most people are. It's not easy to like do that kind of shit. Why are you getting offended because you let your girlfriend fuck another dude? And that's done to you, brother. I don't know why you're getting so upset about it.
And I don't. That's the reason I went there.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, but then you go and you have one girl and you're like, and then you go in and shame me for saying what I did to have many bitches.
Many bitches.
But it's something that you also didn't agree with. No, I don't. Being polygamous, I don't care if you want to be polygamy or not.
Yeah, you do care. So what are you talking about? Why is it the first thing you said in the video?
No. Polygamy, I have no problem with. It's not the polygamy point.
Wait, no, I think because I've been sitting and listening. I think the point SNEAKO is getting at here is what made in reacting to that Ebba and Preach video. What made you bring that specific comment? What made you bring that up about?
Try to emasculate me.
Why did you do that? Why did you bring that up?
Because it would be further proof that just because you believe something right now that you can believe something later on, you believe something different later on, that there's aspects of life that you can grow from. So if one point in your life you believe X, Y, Z and you change your mind, that does not mean that fundamentally you might have taken a pill or not. No, you just grow as a human being.
That's exactly why I was talking about that on your podcast, because I grew from that and realized something that I didn't like.
Hey, we agree on it.
So then why are you bringing it up again? Like, I wouldn't allow that to happen.
I'm not gonna win.
Because I was, again, it was stemming from the other aspect of the video when you sat there and said, no, there's no way.
SNEAKO so sensitive to criticism. Like SNEAKO gets so sensitive anytime anybody like makes fun of anything that he does. He's like, well, why'd you do that? Like, it's like, why are you so upset about everything? It doesn't really make any sense to me. Like, he's very sensitive to any level of criticism. It's kind of weird. Like, why are you getting so offended? I'll be right back. Give me 2 seconds. And the weirdest part about how like sensitive he is that he's so critical of other people on every single thing that they do. And it's like, how can you be like a sensitive comedian? You know what I mean? Like, that's almost what it sounds to me. How are you so sensitive when you're so aggressive about everything?
way that my priorities can change in life. That's what you said in that same video from Alvin Priest.
I said there's no way my priorities can change.
Let me say that back. You said that your priorities not going to change with what Alvin was talking about. He was sitting here explaining to you that there's a possibility later on in life your priorities on just fucking women can change.
No, at 30, no. I think that you just have low testosterone. I'm saying if he's like, what, 31, 32, and he's like, pussy's boring. Like, that's not what I want to do.
It's fine. This is the problem. This is the actual problem. It's not that SNEAKO has different like priorities in life that's a problem. It's that he thinks that if you differ from him, you are fundamentally wrong or dysfunctional in some capacity. Oh, you're 30, you don't want a new pussy? Dude, it gets fucking boring. Oh, Papa Gut, you're fat. Bro, you don't it's not hard to fuck girls. I'm like, it's really not. It's not hard to get fucking girls to fuck you, okay? It's really not, oh, they're fat. Who cares if they're fat? You're still fucking girls. Like, you're acting like pussy's fucking pussy. I fucked skinny girls. I fucked fat girls. I like fat girls more. I don't know. Their pussies are fatter. It feels better. I really don't give a shit, okay? But, like, at the end of the day, like, what the fuck are you on about? Like, it's like, dude, it gets fucking boring. And you want to know what? As a man, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, sometimes you still would like, oh, you know, it'd be the thrill of the chase is still fun. But the priority of getting married and like being in a loving relationship takes over because you're like, you know what? If I do something like that, I'm not going to be able to be married. But I love my wife a lot and I don't want to lose her because she's like half of me. So I'm gonna have some self-control and not fuck around. And it's interesting that like we have all this like ideology. You want to fuck like 10 girls because you have no self-control, but then you criticize me for being fat because I have no self-control. So it seems like we all have self-control issues in some capacity, but you're not interpreting as that because you think it's really cool and base to fuck as many girls. And that's totally cool. You do you. Obviously there's different priorities in life, right? And that's the problem. Like, you're not just like, oh, I let bygones be. Yeah, you're just different. Like, that's how some people are. You're just different. You want to go around and fuck a bunch of girls at 30? I don't give a shit. I'm not going to criticize you, tell you're a bad person. You know, do your thing. Have fun. I don't care. I mean, I think that you should really explore like meaningful relationships because those are the most fulfilling things that you could really ever get in life, in my opinion. But I'm not going to like, you know, you do you know? So, yeah, the pussies are fatter. But like, SNEAKO thinks that if you're not like him, you're just like wrong as a person. It's the problem.
It's not that priorities can't change. It's like, okay, bro, like, all right, bro, if you want to just sit there and like, fine, that's not going to be.
But to Chris's point, that's why it was brought up because
you want to sit there and have kids. What does it mean?
An example of how your priorities can change or shift, or your mentality can shift over time.
But look, that wasn't the energy you had. You brought it up.
Not at all, bro.
Like, we're gonna be
bro, there's like so much dick riding of SNEAKO. Look at the energy. Like, yeah, they were making fun of you. You're sitting here moaning, going, and you're asking to be like respected. Like, no, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but like I'm surprised people are as charitable to you in conversations, considering how ignorant you are in the way that you express yourself. Like, it's actually very interesting, right? You know, you expect this like profound amount of respect from. Well, this really hurt my feelings. Who cares? Like, you're bitching about how it's, well, people say it hurts their feelings when I call them fat. Your feelings are hurt anytime anybody criticizes you in any capacity. You're just as, if not more sensitive than anybody else. But the people treat you like you're too sensitive too. Like, they treat you like that. They treat you like the fucking, like your weird best friend who can't take any criticism. That like you wouldn't really be best friends with her if she didn't cry all the time. Like, that's the way that you're acting here. All the time.
No, and not only that, it was a shot, bro. It was a shot. Like,
oh no!
There were so many ways you could like make that point, and it was a tone.
Who cares? Who fucking cares? You guys are screaming dumb shit all the time. You guys are always fucking assholes, and you want to cry when someone else is an asshole to you. Just be a fucking man and be like, if you're gonna be a dickhead and put yourself out there in that way, do your thing. I think it's fine. Everybody can be a fucking ass. But then like, oh, but when you're being rude to me, women are fucking worthless pieces of shit, and like they're brainless idiots. But like, you make fun of me because I fucked like another girl and watched another guy fuck my girlfriend. Like, well, why are you so sensitive, bro? What happened in your life that made you say you couldn't fucking take criticism? It's kind of pathetic. I don't really get it. Like, it's weird. Like, holy shit. It's just embarrassing. It's like, toughen the fuck up. It's like, oh, if you're fat. You think people are going to melt down the second somebody says maybe women don't respect you because you're just, oh my God. I can't believe you just said that. You're trying to emasculate you. Wait, why are you so worried about what another man thinks about you, bro? That's fucking weird. Why are you so concerned with the way that you're trying to emasculate me? Who cares? Like, why do you care what another man thinks about you? Like, why is the center of your fucking masculinity is harps on like what another man thinks about you? Why? That's embarrassing, isn't it? Isn't that fucking embarrassing? Like, why do you put so much weight into like other people's think about you? Right? You're cosplaying Andrew Tate every day of the week, but like you're somehow like so sensitive, so much more sensitive than him. Like, how the fuck are you like that? It doesn't make sense to me.
So what we want to know is like what's underneath that. Like, here's what I say. Look, this is what I know about you. Look, this is what I know about you. Let me finish. Like, you're very intelligent. You're very good at this. You're very good at like you think very quickly and you respond to like these kind of comments very quickly. Like I just watched what you just did, and that was some kind of mental judo. Like you gave a valid answer, but if we're honest, that was not why you brought that up. It wasn't to make a point of how people can grow and change.
No, well, with the whole thing, it was to make fun of SNEAKO for getting cucked. Like that's what that. No, Young Don's not wrong. He's not wrong. They were making fun of him getting like watching his girlfriend fuck another guy, you know, which is totally fine if you're into that. Clearly, SNEAKO's not, but that is true. They were just taking shots at him. Just own that. Just own that. He's completely right. Young Don is right. He's right 100%. If it's if you don't think he's right, you're coping right now. Because that's really what he was doing. They were just trying to poke fun at SNEAKO. My thing is like, why can't you take a joke? Like that's my whole thing. Especially when you're like as disrespectful as you are.
There was
I watched like a clip of their video where they talk about it. Like, yeah, it actually happened to SNEAKO. Like he was fucking another girl, and that girl's boyfriend was fucking them. You know what I mean? And then like it just didn't go very well for them.
Insult you man to man, and
she probably pushed him into it, and that's probably why he hates women, because he got like that's what happens. Male heartbreak will really lead you to some nasty shit. You know what I'm saying?
Is where is that the root of that coming from?
I agree.
Well, it's not. I mean, I know you all are familiar with me, but no, it's not. Once more, I'm just making a point.
What was that?
I want to know is where is that the root of that coming from?
I agree.
Well, it's not. I mean, I know you all are familiar with me, but no, it's not.
Yeah, you see, like the guy, like, dude, this disrespectful. This is why people make fun of you, because you're a fucking idiot. Like, I don't really want to tell you, you're disrespectful all the time. Like when you fumble on your words, you want people to be so beneficial to you. But like when somebody else does it, you're like, it's just about shaming people. That's why people don't think that you're very intelligent, bro. Like this is the fucking problem, the way that you express yourself. I'm sorry people make fun of you, but it's because you're disrespectful and people don't respect you back. That's just the reality, bro. It's just dumb shit. It makes you look like a fucking kid. Like people don't respect you for that shit. All right, and nobody wants to say it around you because they want to treat you like a fucking baby. But that's what the reality is. It's like you're being stupid. You're making yourself look dumb. Like that's what it is.
Once more, I'm just making a point. If we made another video after it and I brought it up again in that specific context in which I was speaking on, but also, I mean, there has to be some form of entertainment behind it. We're making a video, so the point I want to get across. I mean,
making a joke. Say
that. Wait. So the same way you earlier in this stream, how you was calling me fat, and you was like, "Oh, well, niggas, we just got to be entertaining and stuff like that." It's entertainment. So if you call me fat, I'm not going to take offense to it because I understand that the things that you are doing are in form of entertainment.
Was that the first time you called Lil fat on the internet?
Though after you said go to therapy, I'm like, bro, go get on a treadmill. If you're going to tell me like what I should do with my life, then maybe like take a look in the fucking mirror before you tell me, before you get into high ground, because that's what it is saying. You should go to therapy. That's like you know more than me.
Well,
that I need to fix my life.
Well, you're a very angry person, I think, is what people are trying to communicate to you. Not like that's pretty much, I think, what the people are trying to get at.
That's exactly what that is. That's exactly what that is.
You know what's also interesting, SNEAKO, because the part I did watch this part of the stream, how you said you were diagnosed with ADHD, I believe, as you said, and you were on pills and stuff like that. Same thing with me. I was diagnosed on antidepressants, on pills, told myself I need to stop because I didn't feel anything. A lot of things you say I agree on, and we gone through.
That's fair, man. I came off of my I had ADHD. I came off my medication too. It made me feel like I was being suppressed. I don't like that idea. I also think that, like, dude, it's actually pretty fucked, because I think a lot of the reason that, okay, so I think ADHD, I could be wrong. I think ADHD is disproportionately male diagnosed. And I think a lot of it has to do with, so it's 4-1. Males are disproportionately diagnosed with ADHD to females, and that's probably part of that is probably because like it manifests itself differently, and maybe it's more difficult to determine in women. But I think part of it too is that some of them it's just being hyperactive, and I feel like nowadays we throw our kid in front of a fucking TV, and we don't really give them outlets to get their aggression out. Young men, whether you want to hear this or not, boys, they're fucking insane. Bro, they want to beat the shit out of each other, tackle each other. They want to get there. That's what they want to do. That's what boys want to do. I don't know what to tell you. You could agree, you could disagree. It's just the reality. And then it's like, well, I'm trying to force my kid into a fucking school where he just sits still all day and he looks forward. And like, it doesn't work. A fucking 4-year-old boy's not doing it. Oh, he's got ADHD. Give him some pills. Now he's just sitting there like this. He's froze. Like, yeah, of course, bro. Kids need to get their anger, their energy out, especially young boys. Young boys are just fucking insane. And we don't let them do that. And we're like, it's a mental problem. It's not a mental. I don't think it's like necessarily an issue. Like there are people with ADHD for sure. I think some of it's just like I actually think I have ADHD probably, but maybe I don't. Like how many kids are just like not getting their energy out anymore? Let kids let kids be kids a little bit. I know it's like, well, let boys be boys. I'm not saying let boys be boys, because that's what people use when it comes to like being like sexually inappropriate. I'm just talking about like if young boys want to consensually tackle the fuck out of each other and roughhouse, let them do it. Right? That's what we should really do. I see Mad that SNEAKO won the debate. What I think is funny is that like you coming in here as I'm agreeing with SNEAKO, and you're like, it seems like you're really mad. So you kind of look a little stupid. This was your first message, so I'll give you a pass. But you look a little dumb when I'm on a point agreeing with SNEAKO and just actually contextualizing and elaborating on why I agree with the point. So it's a little bit suspicious that you said that.
Similar aspects in life. How you sat there and said how people just live life and they go on and they're being programmed and they can't think of that. I thought the exact same thing. I was working at Walmart, moving boxes. I told myself, there's no way this is fucking life. There's no way that people believe that this is life, because if it was, I would have self-deleted. I've said this several times in GTA. I've said this several times to the point where I don't understand how you could then come to the conclusion of somebody being complacent when both Agent and I have both said it numerous times, yet again, bucking at the system, that we were on the brink of graduating college and said, no, we're not going to do that, because we're doing something that at the time was not socially acceptable to be a YouTuber like it is right now. So there are things that I think that you jump to conclusions without hearing the broad scope of things. And then from there, because ironically, a lot of things you said, and we say this in the videos a lot of times, there's a lot of things in the Red Pill community that we agree upon. Once more, it's just the conclusion of the nuance that you come to.
Like, as soon as you make a Red Pill video, you'll make like a woke feminist video.
Why did you say that?
But who cares? That's just people, like, that's the thing, is like people are clowning on different ideologies. Like woke feminists are the same as red pillars. There are some things that like feminists are saying that are true. It's just that like sometimes they're being kind of antagonistic assholes about it, and it comes off in like a bad way that doesn't like properly represent them, right? Like that's the thing, right? Like those two things exist, right? So it's like very similar. There are things to make fun of in both, honestly.
It's Abba, out of curiosity, because my laugh is not confirmation. That's a crazy assumption to make.
Say what's Abba?
In the conversation with Abba, you were arguing that I laughed when you said that, and so that was like, so you knew it was true.
Yeah, because I know people laugh because it's like, oh, it's like an affirmation. It's a gut thing. Like, oh yeah, I know you're right. Because that's kind of true. Every time I see you make a red pill type video, there's a feminist one right after it. I can see that you're trying to balance it out.
We don't try and balance them out though. We have a group chat where videos are sent, and then we take the ones that we think is gonna be the most hilarious or interesting things to talk about, and those are the ones we pick. But there's people from all sides saying dumb shit. We react to all of it. It's not like we're just gonna pick one and narrow down on that. You talked a little bit about like me being afraid of being canceled. I think maybe in the past, but I have like
why do you think you guys get brand deals and I never will?
But there's some channels I don't get brand deals on. I think the only brand deal we've ever got on Playback is Teach Hanley, and we got a horrible rate. Like there's some channels where I get plenty of brand deals.
Yeah, like it doesn't just because you're not advertised or palatable, that doesn't mean that you're virtue signaling. Some people just believe in the content that they make. Like I got one brand deal. It was for adamandeve.com one time. You know what I mean? Like it was cool. I got like some money. It was not bad, but like I'm not super palatable. I talk about a lot of controversial shit. You'd be like, oh, well, you're a progressive. Like, dude, I talk about shit that people like don't agree with all the time. It depends on the social state. I'm like a moderate leftist. So like there are going to be times where people are going to be like, oh my God, he's speaking the truth. And there's going to be times where people are going to have like a fucking crybaby shit fit because I'm saying something that they're not agreeable on. Right. So like I'm not super palatable either. Right. That's what happens when you talk about like social political type issues all the time. It's just reality.
It really just depends on. I have 6 YouTube channels, so some of them are less brand friendly than others. We applied to be part of this program with Playback, and they were like, "Nah, your videos aren't brand friendly enough." And we just understood, and it was no offense taken to it. It's just they thought we were talking about controversial topics, and we were. Yeah. The reality is that if you look at my history of creating content, none of it has been conforming to anybody's beliefs. All of it has been speaking my truth. And I just made a video a week ago on why I stopped uploading on my.
That's not true. Every time I get on the podcast, you guys edit your podcast.
Of course, we edit the podcast. And we put
I
the
don't
most
edit shit. Like
and we put
I'm unfiltered.
But that's why all your videos get demonetized. We just put that shit on Patreon.
That's the difference. I don't give a fuck. Like,
I see what you're saying. They take some of the so like, dude, they're editing it out so they can make money on YouTube. Like there's a like, dude, that's not like virtue signaling. That's just like understanding the political sphere. If anything, that's like the system working against you to be able to feel like you could say what you actually want to say. So they put the unfiltered stuff on. Like, yeah, I get that. I mean, that makes perfect sense. I mean, what, you're gonna do work, you might as well get it monetized and then put the full thing on. It's an incentive for people to be like, hey, you want to know what? This isn't actually the full thing. It's censored heavily because we had to, because like it's fucking bullshit. So if you want, come take a look on our Patreon. You know what I mean? That makes perfect sense, bro. Why is that a fucking problem?
That's fine that you don't give a fuck, but I'm running a business, SNEAKO. Look at this. Look, what I'm trying to say is I'm running a business. It has to make money because there's people that's hired to this business that's relying on us. There's families relying on us. Yeah. Point is, people still see the content. It's just on a different platform where there's no restrictions. And
yeah,
so
I disagree with that mentality overall. That's like I'm not going to ever be the person to edit a podcast and say like that's not.
What did you disagree with the mentality that like to try to make money? Like what do you mean? Like your whole entire ideology centralizes around making as much money as possible. What do you mean you disagree with that mentality? I feel like you just don't.
Talk about this.
You're a person who is experiencing every video of yours getting demonetized. Don't you feel like you're being don't you feel like you're being attacked by the platform?
Yeah, I am. I got suspended on Twitter. They shadow ban my shit. I have a strike on my second channel for talking about COVID. But I want to talk about truth. I'm sick of everybody else
saying, look at this though, SNEAKO. You're talking about a system that's oppressing, a system that's programming. You could create your own platform. There's plenty of people who create their own websites.
Not with
right now. Wait, hold on.
I can't do that now. Nobody would go on it. But right now, I'm building a community. That's
I think you can get there though.
No, but like Patreon would be that like alternative platform, right? So you would say like, I'm gonna take my Patreon. I'm gonna put people on here. I'm gonna do this, that, and the other thing. And I'm gonna fuck this shit. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm going to put people on my Patreon. That's like you pull people to a place where you can say what you want to say, but it's in like a more palatable, like not a more palatable, but in a way where like they can actually listen, like, and you won't get demonetized because the monetization is pay for the Patreon. Here's the video for free, right? You could totally do that.
But listen, what I'm saying.
SNEAKO has a Patreon. Like, yeah, it's just I think it's a character assassination attempt where it's going to be anything and everything to disagree with them and to frame them as like shitty. Like, I really do think that that's pretty much the entire thing centralizes around is like, no, you can't be genuine. I'm the only genuine person. If you're not speaking the way I speak, then like, you must be dishonest. That's very emotionally unintelligent to engage in. It's just unrealistic.
Listen to what I'm saying.
I'm sure Patreon has limits too. But like, for instance, like Destiny created his own streaming platform, and he gives out the blueprint to everybody. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can create a website where where people do that. Like, he has the money to be able to invest in something like that. He has a lot of money. He has plenty of money. Oh, I get videos demonetized. I'm sure he does, and I'm sure others don't get demonetized, right? So he has plenty of money that he can use to make like a platform like where he feels like he can share whatever the fuck he wants. He can pull people to a different platform. Fuck, I'm making the wrong thing. I'm actually like, really pissed. He can do a lot of stuff, but he just like it's an excuse to diminish the other people that he's engaging with.
You're trying to build your platform on your beliefs in areas where people are going to try and censor you. If you know that's the case, in my conversation with you, I know you're trying to aggressively build out a platform where you can say what's on your mind all the time. There's plenty of examples of people who, just because they go against the grain, have been packed up from different platforms. That is, you were going to experience a lot of friction in your career as a result of that. But you're living your truth, though. Just because I play within the lines of what's allowed, even though I'm on the...
I know, bro, you're saying the same thing. I don't... Fuck the lines.
Okay, hold on. I ask you this.
I'm so sick of watching people do that.
How many YouTube videos you watch where the first 2 minutes they censor any like explicit words?
Yeah.
All of them.
Okay. Those are not people that don't want to swear. They swear in their videos regardless. They just know, would play within the lines. The first 2 minutes, just cut out the swear words.
No, but it's even the content creators that are afraid to talk about the jab and shit like that. Because, like, whoa, I don't want to... I just want to be unfiltered and just speak the truth. And everybody...
Yeah, but some people aren't... Some people just know that, like, whether you want to scream about it or not, that getting the COVID vaccine is not bad for you, okay? It's... Like, some people are just realistic. Okay, like, have you ever think about that? Like, yeah, you know what? Like that's the thing. He has this idea that everybody thinks that COVID is a conspiracy. No, it's not true.
Buddy, bro, it's a small minority of people who are willing to talk about that.
And look, I genuinely...
Yeah, but because like a lot of people just don't care because they don't think that it's a fucking conspiracy. It's not because they're dishonest. It's because they just don't think it's a conspiracy, and like you do. Like that, just because they have different beliefs doesn't mean that they're fucking virtue signaling, bro.
Last point. I'm annoyed that there's a lot of commentary channels that can just find a niche and where they don't trigger anyone and they find the right opinion and it becomes an echo chamber and they find a community and then people are like, bleh. But like my chat, bro, everybody here is trying to get it. I'm trying to like elevate everybody there. I feel like your audience, Abba and Preach's audience are just like, it's a bit of complacency and you can find.
See, it is. It's just constant disrespect. Like everybody's so dishonest, bro. He's assassinating his like ideology, he's assassinating like his credibility every day when he does stuff like this. It's fine. Well, okay, you do you.
That niche in a commentary channel where you're just kind of like, well, it comes in both ways. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you should pick a point of view.
But we don't always believe both ways,
bro. That's such like a very like I think that's like such a bad way to engage in everything. That's the cause of like a lot of problems. It's like, oh, just fuck, I just lost. That's the cause of like a lot of problems, right? Is people just just pick a perspective, pick a side. Why does there have to be a side? That's why we have a problem in the world, right? Or at least in the United States, like there's not enough people bridging the gap from both sides. It's everybody being super divisive. They're like one issue voters. They don't give a fuck. This is the same thing here. Like it's either all or nothing in one way or the other. Either women are oppressed or men are oppressed. But like what if everybody's just oppressed in a different way and we just acknowledge that and we move forward? Like what happens if we just acknowledge that? But like that's what I'm talking about here.
There's any lost authenticity in your expression?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Look, before you cut me off, I was gonna say, I stopped making content on 2K because they were censoring content creators, giving access and opportunities to those who would listen. I wasn't interested in playing that game. So, like, the reason you stream on YouTube is because there's a little bit more freedom on YouTube than there is on Twitch. So you're playing the same game. You just drew a different line.
Well, look what happened to Don. I would just get banned on Twitch. I'm not playing the game. I just know what will
and
happen.
I fully understand that. I'm just saying you drawn a different line, though. That's all I'm saying.
YouTube instead of using Twitch,
because I know I would get banned. There's no point in even starting.
I agree.
Actually, you can just stream on both platforms to increase your reach, and if you got banned, who cares? It's like it doesn't actually matter that much. Like you could totally get your shit back if you really wanted to. It's honestly.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Because I'm still saying this. The message is not different. It's the platform.
No, listen. On the point of staying in the line and doing what you need to do to get your message out, right? That's the same thing he does. If he mutes the first 2 minutes and you switch platforms to say what you want to say more, you're playing with the lines that you have.
No, but they'll edit stuff out of their podcast to say, "Oh, I don't want to talk about. Like, I'm not going to say. I'm just." And I'm the opposite.
Post it on Patreon, SNEAKO.
And that's why I'm a little disappointed that you took a shot about that, Lo. Was like I openly talked about an L on your podcast to make it entertaining because everybody else is afraid to talk about that. I don't give a fuck. But like I openly risked that, knowing that it was going to be an interesting conversation about open relationships and overall about how I want to fuck bitches, and this is my way of doing it. And then you still use that to try to like belittle my character. When overall I have more balls to talk about that shit in the first place. Lo, you know you don't talk about everything. You know damn well you don't, and I do.
I agree with you. It takes guts to put yourself out there like that. So it's two things.
And yeah, when you do, I was on his podcast talking about it. He's like, "Well, I wouldn't let that happen." That's dumb.
Listen, bro. That's dumb. It's two things with that situation though. Either
it's so interesting because what SNEAKO is saying, like fundamentally, is like, "Hey, I expressed like a very deep part of myself emotionally, and then you shit on it," and he's kind of right, but then like he shits on everybody else for similar shit. I was really trying to get to the core of myself and not be afraid of my emotion. I think that's very respectable. I'm not memeing at all. But like, then what else happens though? You know what I mean? It's in like, oh, well, you got fucking Funko Pops. Like, yeah, I'm just doing my thing. I'm expressing myself how I want. You're doing the same thing, but like somehow it's more critical for like it's more okay for like one person to do it, not the other. You know what I mean? It's like this huge double standard that we're engaging in here. It's kind of weird. It's kind of a little weird, brother. I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying.
You're assuming he had malicious intent with it, or Lo is lying about his intent. That's what's on the table right now with that shit. That's personal though.
Yeah, I think this is a personal issue. And you know,
it's just the nature of the internet.
Sorry to cut you off, Chris, but again, I want to be very, very clear. I don't have a problem with SNEAKO. Like, there's literally no problem with SNEAKO. I applaud you for being open and honest and transparent, even beyond that story, because I think that's one of the more.
You think it's bullshit? I feel like SNEAKO feels like
I'm listening.
No, I think even beyond that, because I think that's what gravitated me towards you from like before I even met you, like on the podcast and shit like that. So I think you are a very transparent, open, honest person, and I think there's a lot of things that are I think it's great. I think that's a very, very great characteristic behind it. If you feel like there was some malice behind what I'm saying, I won't no longer phrase it that way. But my overall stance still is the case, and I think that. You know, you can grow, and I think people shouldn't get caught up in the nuances of what they end up wanting to become, what their end goals, as long as the core beliefs of who they are intact and based in reality and truth.
Bro, fuck all this.
That's really it.
I'd say this last point, SNEAKO, you're playing the same game, you just drawing a different line. It's interesting because you have a Patreon. Patreon is our uncensored, unfiltered content. So if we know that we're uploading the content regardless, it just goes on another platform, and the people who give a fuck about that type of content are going to go over there. And you know that when brands don't fuck with you, look, listen, hold on, let me finish this.
You're doing it because for public image.
No. We're not. It has nothing to do. People see the videos anyway. People see, and they can clip it and post it. Once it's on the internet, it's on the internet. Look at this though, SNEAKO. The content goes up regardless. You have a Patreon, so you understand that it's just nice to be able to say whatever you want whenever you want. And you also know that when you're not brand safe, that your only option is to monetize your audience. So if your audience isn't willing to pay for programs, courses, merchandise, then you just don't have many revenue streams at all. And so when we have a channel like Playback or peer-to-peer where we discuss topics that we know is going to breach on not being brand safe, we create some sort of platform that allows us to continue making that type of content.
You guys are like unfiltered commentators?
Not necessarily. I mean, I would say my opinion. There's rare circumstances where I won't say my opinion.
Lo, do you think like you're a completely unfiltered, open commentator?
No, I don't think completely. No.
Okay, both of you said no. That's the difference.
I don't think anybody is though.
You don't think I am?
You're not because if you know for a fact.
Point.
I mean, that's just the difference. That's the difference in opinions. That's my overall, like, you could have a commentary channel and find your audience and then stay in that echo chamber and not be open and honest. And I
feel like I've never like censored myself personally.
Yeah, it's
on
like
bad for. But I'm not saying that.
Yeah, I mean they kind of have a point here because I don't think I've ever really censored myself saying anything. Like I'm constantly, like honestly, I'm constantly using like a lot of words that I probably shouldn't use either way. Like when I talk about like sexual assault a lot of time, like I just say the word. I'm just like, why am I gonna fucking pussyfoot around saying the word? You know what I mean? So like, yeah, I guess they kind of got him there a little bit on that. I just like feel like that was like I feel like you didn't really have any evidence for it, but they just asked him and they're like, yeah, I'm okay. I mean, at least they're being honest, I guess. But
look, that's not a crime to censor yourself. If you want to censor yourself because you want to, like Agent is saying, fall within a certain realm.
It's not censorship, though.
If I ask you your honest opinion on something and then you voluntarily don't say it because you are you're worried about the repercussions, that is a form of censorship.
But you don't know that's the reason why, though. That's
exactly. That's what I'm about to say. If you're talking about things about me and my life,
I'm talking in general. I'm just talking in general. Like,
majority.
Okay, all right. Let me ask you guys both a question. Here's just a random. Do you think a man can be a woman? Do you think a man can be like do you believe that trans what do they call it? Do you believe
you think that trans people exist? Like, yes, I do believe trans people exist. Yeah, for sure. Like, obviously they don't, which is whatever. I mean, I'd love to have a conversation about that, like a really actual, like, good, engaging conversation about that. But like, just because you might believe that trans people do exist doesn't mean that you're grifting, which is basically what they're saying here.
That transsexuals, like, do you think there's ever a legitimate situation where a man is in the wrong body or a woman's in the wrong body, or are they all suffering from some sort of?
We say a person would be in the wrong body for sure. Like, yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Either they're suffering some sort of mental
identity.
So like, this is the problem is like, so mental illness is like, the way that we label mental illness is obviously a social construct. Like, yeah, I do think that like, it's not identified as that, but I don't think it's unreasonable to say like having gender dysphoria is like some kind of a mental illness. But that doesn't invalidate the existence of it. But you don't invalidate people just because they have a particular mental illness, right? We have the classifications like mental illness that we can diagnose people and get them the help that they need to be happy in life. I absolutely do think that between like a mixture, like there could be like a brain chemistry thing, a gene washing thing in the womb. There could be 100 different things that trans people do actually like legitimately exist, and their best pathway to being happy would be to transition in some capacity. Like, yes, I do think that does exist, right? But it doesn't really matter because like you can think that it doesn't, but just because you think it doesn't mean that you're pandering.
Throwing a lot into the point, but overall,
no, I'm just giving an example. No. Controversial topic that see what people say.
So I say this, Chris. I think that sometimes people feel like just because I'm not informed and I don't want to. So the reason we don't talk about trans topics on Playback is because even though Lo has an opinion on him, I don't. I haven't looked at the research. I don't have one trans friend. I'd be talking out of my ass and just having to take for the sake of having to take. If you want to call that censorship, it is what it is.
I respect that actually a lot. I actually respect that a lot. Like, I think that it's interesting because if people are like, well, if you don't have an opinion, you're a bad person. No, I think that's cool. He's like, I don't have like a personal experience with it. I don't have looking at data or research. So I don't want to, kind of like interact in a way that's like emotional or like uninformed or incredibly biased. So I respect that a lot. Actually, I think that's a good way to operate. It's totally fair.
Yeah, because certain
I'm on the camp that I just don't care. And it's not at a place of like, there's a lot of things in the world I don't care about.
You don't have to care to have an opinion, though.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. He said, I can relate to this, though. If I know I'm not informed about something or it doesn't bother me or rub me the wrong way, I just let it go.
But you guys are a commentary channel. Maybe you should be informed about it. Like, you mostly steer towards celebrity drama and stuff like that. Maybe these are the biggest issues that are happening in society.
But these are the only things that you feel concerned about being super informed about. Like, everybody has an opinion. Everybody has, like,
No, you don't. No, that's not the case at all.
I have an opinion on trans people.
So if I ask you, can a man be a woman? You literally don't. You're like, there's no yes, there's no no, there's no.
So if you ask me about the genocide going on in China, I know such surface level knowledge. Me giving a take on it, you could call it an opinion, but it'd be so misinformed.
Agent, you're a man, bro. Like, you think you can be a woman, bro?
No, because they wouldn't have gender dysphoria, right? So, like, generally speaking, somebody who has just like a trans woman would they wouldn't be identifying as like a man. I understand what they're saying. Like, they think a biological man can identify as a woman. Or be like a gender woman. Like, yeah, I do, obviously. But now we're getting to a point where you're trying to actually emasculate him if he does disagree with your ideology. I wonder if they're like feeling ashamed to give a genuine answer because they feel like these guys might like shit on them for it.
Ask me a question like that, and if I thought it was important for the success of the chat,
this is what we're
it's not dodging. It's almost as if you're forcing me to have an opinion. Otherwise, it's censorship. I'm telling you that topic is not important to me, so I've not put in thought and effort to develop my own opinion.
Stuff like this should be important to you. These are like the biggest issues.
Why does that have to be the type of?
Why do people need to do commentary on trans issues? I don't understand. I don't really get that. Okay.
That's what we make.
So, Agent, because listen, this is where I say, like, I agree with him on this. So you're saying that if you knew more on it, to be able to have a credible standpoint or a standpoint you can stand on and feel 100%. Confident in.
But what do you feel now, though? Like, do you think you could be a woman? Do you think a man could be a woman?
He's not gonna answer.
Chris, I'm telling you, I have no clue.
Chris,
I haven't read one study. I don't even think I've talked to a trans person before. Why would my opinion on this bear any weight? It wouldn't even happen.
Bro, like, it's kind of disrespect the guy's opinion that he doesn't want to like give an answer on it. I respect it and just move on. But they want to trap him and they won't let it go. Like, hey, I don't want to have an opinion on that. It's not important to me. The channel and I haven't researched it. I think that's perfectly respectable. But they're like desperate to get something out of him because they want to catch him on like they want to get him on a gotcha. Like they're not really interested. It's kind of like it's a bit of a dishonest tactic here.
I'm asking you about
so here's the thing.
I'm asking you about you, bro. Like, this is what I'm saying. And I'm not like trying to, I'm just giving you an example,
Let's
bro.
flip the question, Chris. Let's flip the question.
Agent, 10 years ago,
good question.
10 years ago, you would have said no. 10 years ago, you would have said
that.
no. A man cannot be a woman. The reason you're
listen to this.
10 years ago, I would have said no. What the fuck does it matter? We didn't talk about trans issues except for like 5 years ago. Like, it's a very new thing for people to be talking about. So of course people would say no. People have no understanding of like the topic. And now that people do, they might be more open to it, right?
Listen to this, Chris and SNEAKO, and take. Look, if I ask Lo, look, I'm familiar with the war going on in Ethiopia, the war going on in Syria, but Lo is not. Me talking about those topics would have to rely on him being able to commentate on it.
Can a man be a woman?
And on top of that, that's just not the type of content we do. You put it all comments.
That's my point, Chad. That's my point.
And there's nothing wrong with you guys taking that point of view. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with y'all like taking that point of view. Like, a lot of like content creators take that angle, and it's the smart angle to take.
See, that's what I mean. That's an angle. Like, what if people just actually believe and trans women exist, and trans men exist, and trans people exist? Like, this is what it is. If it's not, this is like the most like dishonest part. Is that like if you don't agree with it, you must be grifting in some capacity. It's like, bro, come on with that shit. Like, that's just so dishonest, dude. Like, so because the idea is that this is the idea. Somehow everybody's agreeing with trans issues just to be woke. Like, nobody actually cares at all. Everybody's just trying to woke bomb you. Everybody's dishonest. Everybody's like a disingenuous piece of shit. Like, that you can't just like that's not an honest. That's just not the way that you're portraying it isn't honest. To be honest with you. So like, Jesus Christ, it's fucking incredible.
To not get demonetized. And
do you believe that though?
Do I believe that saying that, oh, I don't have a strong opinion on it, because I haven't read all the research about a question like, can you be a woman? Can you wake up tomorrow and think you're a woman and you're a woman? Do you think that men who are born with penises and XY chromosomes should be allowed to walk into a woman's bathroom?
Yes, I got a question for y'all.
Okay, wait, no, but you get my point, right? You get my.
Let me ask you a question here. Well, since we're talking about people going into bathrooms, do you think this is a real question? Okay. Do you think that this person should be able to walk into a woman's bathroom? That's my honest question. If you say yes, then okay. But this is a trans man. This is a biological woman, right? You understand what I'm saying? Like, I feel like you wouldn't want this person. I personally wouldn't want this person going into a woman's bathroom because I think that they would probably be intimidating to a woman. And Buck agrees. So, like, right? We kind of go into like a different, like, oh, well, do you think that, do you think that somebody with a penis, like, bro, like, okay, so then what about like, what if we flip the script here? And this is always easy, but like, what about this person? Wow, I'm just having like a fucking brain aneurysm here. Okay, hold on. Okay, here we go. What about this person? Do you think that this person should be able to go into a boy's bathroom? You'd be like, no, that would make me uncomfortable, right? But this is a biological man. So it's like, you know, maybe we should think and engage a little more critically in these things. You know what I'm saying? It's not as simple as just that, right? A lot of it's the way that people express themselves to society that makes people feel safer, which I think is totally fair, right? But we should probably acknowledge those things instead of being so like basic and fundamental, like, or just so basic about it. I'm just saying.
I see your point. I understand what you're trying to say. SNEAKO, this question is for you. Do you not based on the success of other people in the manosphere, or just people with extreme opinions in general, like Andrew Tate, is that not proof that having a more extreme opinion and shocking people with your opinion and entertainment value is not an easier and better way to monetize your content?
No.
Yeah, actually, he's got a decent point. I mean, he is riding the Andrew Tate train quite hard. So, like, yeah, you can make that argument. I don't think it's like it is more. This is the thing, is I think we went really far left for the past couple of years. And then now there's a rebound effect, and people are more open to like right-leaning shit, right? The way that we went too far left is like dismissing men's issues in general, rather than contextualizing that there's men's and women's issues, right? We went a little too far in that capacity. That's one of the ways, right? So now it's like very palatable to talk about the shit that he's talking about. He's not wrong here.
Because all my shit's monetized. I have people behind the scenes helping me to get my shit monetized. Like I have to like pay to get my videos monetized. It's a
yeah, but the thing is that you could say the same thing and get monetized. Like you could talk about controversial topics on YouTube. You just have to be respectful about it, right? But like SNEAKO screams. That's why you're not getting monetized. It has less to do with it's more to do with that, to be honest with you, than more than anything else. Like, let's be honest here. So
whole headache. I got suspended on Twitter.
But you shouldn't even be thinking about monetization.
Channel for talking about COVID. If I talk about COVID the wrong way again, my channel's going to get deleted.
But look,
well, yeah, but you're also just objectively incorrect about COVID. Like, you're just a fucking conspiracy theorist. I don't know what to tell you, brother. I mean, like, it's dangerous to be a conspiracy theorist about this shit. So,
Nico, you know that it's not. You know that it's way harder.
What's your point, though?
You know that you're not brand safe, though. You know that your monetization is going to come from your own audience. You selling products, courses, services to your audience. So you just haven't done that yet. But I'm arguing that the people who are doing that successfully are highly successful monetizing their audience.
It's harder to get to that point. It's easier to take the complacent safe route and just echo and just be a safe commentator who just echoes celebrity drama and talk. That's easier. You'll make more bread like that. That's an easier route. It takes less courage to do that. And I think commentary channels should take more courage in speaking about the issues that are more pressing. Like talking about China, maybe should make a video about how Shanghai, they're boxing everybody in for COVID right now. About people are like yelling outside of their apartments because they can't get food.
It's so interesting that he's criticizing China when like last time he's like, look at China, they're doing so well. And now all of a sudden, like, it's weird. They're talking about China as like a moral positive. They're all over the place with their shit. Him and his fucking buddy. Like, they're actually fucking nuts, brother. It's crazy.
How like the monkeypox is clearly going to be another lockdown and no one's talking about it. About how the fear mongering in the last 2 years was so rampant and it's happening again and we need to wake people up and we're not. We're just like,
well, nobody was really fear mongering. Some people were, but like it was a valid thing to be worried about. Like a lot of people died. Like we have to kind of pretend, we have to like kind of grow up a little bit here and be like more adults about this shit. I don't want to lock down for monkeypox either. I don't know if it's gonna cause a lockdown. Only because, like, it seems to be very, like, connected with people. Like, it seems like a lot of people when it comes to sex. I mean, I see that, like, it's very disproportionately gay men. You know? Hey, you want an unpalatable take. I mean, like, the reason is probably because gay men tend to be more promiscuous, I think. I mean, that's not an unreasonable assumption. Not because they're gay men, but because men are. Like, you always talk about sexual selection in, like, the high-value male sphere. That's part of it. Like, this is the thing. If dudes can fuck dude, like, okay, when it comes to women, between probably biological and social factors, women tend to be like less, sexually driven, or they tend to want to find a partner that's more emotional. Like they're emotionally driven with their partner. Men seem to be a little more comfortable just kind of fucking around, swinging their dick. Case in point, boom. So then, like, when you put two people together that don't have that, they want to fuck, they're gonna fuck. Men, that's the same thing. That's why there's like women who go around fucking too. It's just like men usually have that boundary or don't have that boundary necessarily in the same way. So a bunch of dudes are fucking. Like I would do it too if I was gay. I'd fuck dudes all the time. It'd be so easy because that's it. So I think that's probably part of the reason. I mean, I'm just saying, bro.
And the same thing, Abba said the same shit. I haven't really looked into it, but you'll make all these celebrity drama bullshit videos.
What standard are you holding commentary channels to, though?
Your voice should be used for the most pressing issues, in my opinion. That's what
I want to do. And I feel you on that. But I'm saying, what standard are you holding commentary channels to where they have to be informed about like everything from genocide going on in certain areas of the world? Yeah. It's a crazy high standard because being informed is not just reading the news, it's really understanding the data and the people and how it affects them. Right, that's a high standard. I would have to be a journalist for you to hold me to that standard. Those are standards you hold journalists to. So I'm not saying that you should lower the bar so much that like just any shitty opinion constitutes you having a commentary channel. But I'm saying even the content you was making 5 years ago, SNEAKO, was very different than the content you're making right now.
I have a video up on my channel. I was making Call of Duty commentaries about why feminism is bad when I was 15 and 16.
Yeah, but then you shifted into another direction where you started doing sit-down conversations like the 1 minute podcast shit, and now you're back to that, like, right? So like you've kind of like gone backwards in time when it comes to like maturity level, right? So.
Genuinely believe that your content you make in the last month is the same as the content you made 5 years ago?
I'm talking about the same exact things. If you look back at all the same stuff I'm talking about.
Don't you think it's a little weird that you're parroting your 5-year-old self or whatever? Like, don't you think it's a little weird? Don't you think that maybe you shouldn't listen to the way that you felt when you were like 10? I'm just saying, brother. I mean, like, that's a little bizarre to me.
It was the same shit I was talking about back then. And like how people view you. The video I made like that really blew up. I was like 17 in my room shaving my head, talking about how social media is fucking people's heads up because they're so stuck in validation.
You've just been
yeah, but that's like, again, that's a basic take. People know that. Like, I'm not saying that it's wrong, but I'm saying that that's not the same thing as saying that women are stupid. Social media does fuck people up, and people are very aware of it now, for sure. But like, it's not like you're saying something like super duper, like, oh my god, incredible, unique, like crazy, sussy. Like, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, like, you're not wrong. It's just that, like, generally speaking, like, yeah, that's not the same as being like women are all fucking stinky, right? It's just not the same.
Critical person this whole time, but your content has not been the same though. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Because
you're not the same. You're not the same person you were 5 years ago.
The message has always been the same.
And which is what
I think. But here's what I was thinking.
Here's
what I was thinking though. Like the point of the friction is. Like
well, it's not really but you think we're brainwashed by the government. That's like more of just the unfortunate or like not necessarily desired consequences of the spread of social media. That doesn't mean that the government has created Facebook to make you a sad boy. That's a little like people don't care about you that much to actually give a fuck about that, right? That's just one of the unintended consequences of like having constant access to like a bunch of different people, seeing the best of other people's lives, like always chasing the new American dream as a TikTok star rather than like a fucking like an actress or like a fucking somebody. Like the American dream used to be get a good job and just try to fucking pay your bills. Now it's be a fucking cool TikTok star. Like it's fucking unhinged, you know?
I think Agent and Low, you guys have every right to, it's your content, it's your channel. You guys have every right to like say what you want to say and talk about what you want to talk about for whatever reasons that may be. You guys are your own men and SNEAKO's his own man. Same things apply. And whether or not we change our minds on things as we get older is irrelevant. Everyone does. But like, I think the real point here is y'all are criticizing each other with the same energy, but attacking each other for different reasons.
Right.
SNEAKO,
explain that.
Okay. I
mean?
think your criticism of people like SNEAKO, Andrew Tate, maybe I fall into that camp, you know, is, oh, these guys are just trying to get views by having shocking, controversial opinions.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Okay,
that's not what he's saying.
Well, okay, all right. Well, that's how it's coming off, and then it feels like
I don't think that's what it's really coming off at. I think that's a factor in it, but I think part of it is that like he's just yelling and screaming and saying things that aren't necessarily demonstrated in real life. He's not really listening to people when they talk, and he's being very, I mean, in my opinion, fucking sensitive as hell. You know, shit like that. We gotta fucking back off on that too. Shit.
SNEAKO's problem with y'all is that, you know, you guys get to benefit from. You guys pose as truth speakers when you're not really telling your whole truth,
or trying to speak,
you know, it's not that you have to. Your truth got to be my truth. It's not that we have to agree. But like,
sorry to cut you off. We don't even pose as truth seekers though.
Not truth seekers, truth speakers. Like people look at y'all.
Okay, well, okay, whatever.
And are thinking when y'all are talking, oh, we're getting the full on. This is what these dudes believe, and I think the reason why like SNEAKO's pointing out the back and forth between the red pill content and the blue pill content was that it kind of suggests that somewhere something's getting censored, somewhere something's getting altered. It's how you feel this way on Monday and this way on Tuesday. It kind of always feels like you're appealing to the lowest common denominator. And
Chris, we upload full versions of our playback videos on the Patreon. Nice plug. So the uncut. We're not.
Nice plug. They're just saying that they know that there's some things that aren't advertised or palatable, so they have to remove it. Like, I don't know why that's like a plug, you know? But okay.
Any attempt trying to hide the content. I'm trying to explain to you that the content exists on the internet. It's just about what platform is willing to accept it, and we don't want to nuke our prospects because we want to upload it all to the same platform. We are comfortable uploading content we don't think is good for YouTube on different platforms, and the people interested in seeing that content can go see it. So you could call it censorship. I would just call it the path of, I would just call it smarter. It's dealing with less issues, and the people that care about that content see it regardless.
Right. No, and that's like, I never said there's anything wrong with taking that approach, though. There's nothing wrong with taking that approach. But yeah, there's nothing wrong.
I respect the way you just put it in the sense that, you know.
Well, the thing is that like you're saying there's nothing wrong with it, but then you're trying to imply that because they're being smart about making their content, that they're basically like virtue signaling, and they're not being genuine in anything that they say and do. So like you don't believe that. Like you're just trying to use every opportunity to say that they don't speak to what their truth would be. But it seems like they do. They're just smart about it, so they actually make money. Like, isn't that the primary goal? You know what I mean?
They know that Patreon is more fluid in these type of things, so they give it the raw to form the Patreon, and they keep the money coming in from YouTube.
Can I let me say something real quick? To answer Chris.
All right. So all right. Wait.
Let me. Can I answer a quick question? Let me answer a quick question.
Go ahead.
Yeah. To your question, no. Your original question about can a man be a woman, a woman be no.
See, that's what I wanted from Agent. That's what
when I'm
Ethiopia.
Really had to muster up their strength for that one. Maybe they are kind of right though. Like, what the fuck? Did it take you so long to say that? I mean, I obviously disagree, but why did it take you so long to have that opinion? It's a little curious.
But what I'm saying is that I still don't believe the other side is. I don't think we should then make a video about it if one of us are not fully informed on it.
So just go make a video disagreeing with each other.
No, and I'm not saying you got to make a video on
it. He's not informed regardless. It doesn't. He's not right. Or he's not
about if you think a man could be a woman or not. What's the information?
You're giving them an idea that maybe disagreements on camera will be good for their audience.
Look, and we have disagreements on camera.
We disagreed on the video that y'all are watching right now.
See, I defended you, SNEAKO. You notice how when you came on the podcast, I might have laughed when you said something crazy, but I always said, let's hear him out because I was fascinated by why you did what you did. I thought, and you know that because you came on the podcast multiple times. Me and Lo, the reason people think we have good chemistry is because we always feel comfortable disagreeing with one another. This is not like an echo chamber where we just want to hear what each other has to say. SNEAKO, the reason I'm having this convo with you is because I'm very open to yours, Chris's, and whoever is mindset.
Yeah, we're here right now disagreeing with y'all.
I can't force myself to have an opinion on some shit I don't care about. And the reality is, I don't care about most things on the planet. I'm not forcing an opinion for content. If I care about it, look, this is how playback videos work. I'll be like, yo, this shit was crazy. You wanna make a video on it? He'd be like, nah. I'd be like, I bet. He'd be like, yo, this was interesting. This happened. You wanna make a video on it? Yeah. All right, let's do it. So it's not a matter of, but at any point, if Lo wanted to, if he cared enough to have an opinion on something I cared about, the video will drop. So sometimes it's just funny entertainment. Other times it's more like thinking pieces where we see something interesting and we want to talk about it. So the content that we think is safe for YouTube, we'll upload. But Playback gets hit by demonetization all the time. We almost never get brand deals. That's why we have a Patreon and those guys allow us to do this shit full time.
I think we're missing each other. I think we might be missing each other.
I think we kind of agree.
More so. Yeah, I'm about to say, but going back to what Chris said, not only I said no, but I believe that it's dangerous if you go out and make a video about a topic that you're not informed on, which is what I think a portion of the Red Pill community is now, or at least some of the louder people where they say things and they're not properly informed of the things that they say, and then the audience then take it, which is ironic that you think that we're truth seekers when SNEAKO is literally yelling right now what I'm saying is the truth. Like, he's literally yelling.
No, not truth seekers, truth speakers.
Truth speakers. When SNEAKO is literally yelling that I'm speaking the truth. So ironically, what you're saying is I will never ever make it seem like everything I say verbatim is the truth. Like, everybody can have a certain lifestyle that they want to live as long as the core beliefs are still intact. But at the end of the day, if I have an opinion, regardless if it's for or against Red Pill, I'm not going to sit here and make an entire video on it if I'm not informed about it. Matter of fact, there's been videos where we've taken down if we felt like the video wasn't properly informed. A great example of that actually was an Amber Heard situation where we were completely off basis and then we took it down and then properly informed ourselves and came back with the right video. So we've done that before as well.
Right. Do y'all eat ass?
No, I don't eat ass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I mean,
nothing. SNEAKO, we have conversations on the podcast that certainly is not fucking brand friendly or safe. Yeah. That's odd. That's crazy. Yeah. And I did not go in the top. No, wait, stop. I did not go in the top fucking floor of that fucking crazy ass place that I took SNEAKO to. I did not. I didn't go up there, man. I refused to let somebody say that I went up there, man. It was a lot of Megatrons and Transformers in there as well. It's pretty crazy, man. It's a pretty cool place, man.
What I missed? Sorry, what's bad?
Yep.
SNEAKO knows that I talk like this, which is so fucking crazy to me. This is crazy to me.
Yeah, but then you go to therapy, like therapy.
I think you got like a fucked up mindset on therapy, bro.
Yeah, I think you take some of the things I'm saying.
That's some bot shit. That's some blue pill. Like, bro, there's nothing fucking wrong with me. I don't need to go to therapy. I'm not mentally deranged.
But like I said, I don't think that something has to be wrong to you for you to go to therapy. I think I think it's a good mental exercise to just bounce ideas off of somebody else. Me saying go to therapy is not inherently me saying that you're crazy. I'm not saying that.
So wait, hold on. For crazy people. It's for people who really need it. Not just
wait. Let me say the quick agent. But that's where we disagree, and that's fine. But as long as you understand that I'm not inherently calling you crazy, that's not what I'm saying.
All right.
Hey, I have a quick question because I'm just trying to understand this Red Pill stuff. I think I've had it. I think it's more all encompassing than I gave it credit for, because you're saying it's the truth. Well, there's truths everywhere, so there's no real limit to what it can stand for. But SNEAKO, it seems like your objective. I don't think you want to settle down. You talk about how you want 10 different women in your crib, cooking, cleaning, obeying you, and things of that nature. I think that Chris is, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, I was fucking muted the whole time. Awesome shit. All right, thank you for telling me that I was muted. Thank you. All right, like I was saying, is like I don't think that like SNEAKO actually wants that. I don't think that SNEAKO actually wants to have like 10 girlfriends and all this other shit. I think that I don't think most people are built for it. I'm not built for it. I tried it. I tried having multiple girlfriends. It didn't work. It's not for me. Like it's just not for me. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't feel right. I don't really like it. It's too much. It's exhausting. And I don't think it's easy to just turn off and not care about anybody else but yourself. You know what I mean? I don't think it's that easy, bro, to just be like, yeah, fuck it, and not care. I just don't think it's possible. I just don't. It's just too. I don't think. I mean, it's possible. I just don't know if SNEAKO's the one who's done it. Like, he's a young guy and he wants to experiment with the idea. Like, that's totally chill. I've done that too, but you know.
Also red pill, but he's living the opposite lifestyle.
I'm Christian. I'm not. No. So all right, we were actually before y'all called.
Right, we was dissing.
Yeah, and like
it's funny because he's also his name is Chris. They're telling us, so he is Christian.
I think this might just be a conversation for a whole other setting, one that is just about those kinds of topics. I was saying something more along the lines of like, before I became a devout Christian, I believe that the red pill approach to dealing with the average modern woman is the best approach or the most effective approach when you're dealing with the women that are coming up in the current state of society. Like, personally, I believe that the situation should be, you should be able to buy a girl like a dozen roses and send it to her work and be like, hey, I was thinking about you.
Oh, okay, but that's not what the red pill community thinks. What are you talking? That's okay. Well, who disagrees with that? I'm very confused. Who fucking wait? What? Okay, I'm very confused right now. Okay.
I hope you enjoy that. But I would never recommend a young man do that in the current state when, we know how women move now, and we know, like...
Okay, wow, women move. You're making general prescriptions like all women. Like, oh, this is how all women are. Like, no, it's not how all women are. Don't date shitty women. Hey, guys, hot take. Don't date shit women. Here's what you should do. Always, when you're in any relationship, be the best version of yourself you can, even if you're not receiving it. But if you're not receiving it back, don't date that person. That's it. Always like hold yourself to a high standard and don't settle for less. Like, don't be shit just because some girl might be shit. Stop looking for those girls then. Like, that's your fucking problem. Like, don't stop looking for those types of girls. Stop going after those girls. And if you keep seeing them, maybe you need to like relocate where you're looking for. Maybe you need maybe it's a you problem. You know what I mean? Maybe you're drawn too much to like shit women. It's the real fucking thing, bro.
No, that's corny now. Now that's try hard. That's simping. You feel me? Like,
so I'm a little curious, and if it's
but that's not corny and try hard and simping because of girls. It's corny and try hard and simping because that's the way that like men, like boys, think about that shit because they're fucking immature. Like, it's not the same thing. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's not corny. Like, it's like, don't do it for somebody who doesn't deserve it. But like, now you're just like, yeah, I don't want people to think I'm kind of gay, so I'm not gonna treat my woman the right way. That's what you're fucking saying right there. That's fucking cringe, bro. What are you talking about? That's weird that you care so much about what a man thinks about your fucking relationships. Immature ass shit. Like, it really is.
You personally, you don't have to answer, but what gave you the green light to want to change your mindset with your current wife? Because you're saying you wouldn't just advise anyone to do that with a random woman.
Wait, what do you mean? Could you
like, your mindset on how to treat women has changed? I'm saying
I approach my wife when we're dating from a red pill point of view, and then when I decided that I wanted to get married, to get married is counter red pill, but I decided that no, I want to get married because I want to have children, and I want to have children within the structure of marriage. And so now, they call that purple pill or whatever. At the end of the day, though, yeah, they gotta.
Yeah, but how do you get married treating women like they're less than? Like, how do you find like a woman that'll put up with your shit? I feel like Young Don's the guy who like puts on. He's like, yeah, I think women are shit, but he's like a fucking total like he loves his wife or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's probably a really good fucking husband, but he cosplays as a fucking asshole. He's like, yeah, women. Like, nah, dude, you probably were like in love with your, like, oh my god, she was the best thing that ever happened to me. You know what I mean? And that's totally awesome, bro. It's good. That's a good thing. But like, stop pretending that you were ever like this fucking baller ass motherfucker. You know what I'm saying, dude? Like, that'd be like if I was pretending that I was ever like, yeah, fuck my bitch wife. My wife has always treated me well. I've always fucking respected the shit out of her, right? That's how I landed my wife. He's probably the same exact way, but he's like, dude, I feel like he feels like he'll be emasculated by like being by having a conflict. Like, yeah, I like my relationship. Oh, simp behavior, dude. I feel like you're self-reporting here. Why do you care so much about what other fucking people think about your relationship? That's some beta shit to me, brother. I'm just saying.
Got every rainbow colored pill these days, bro. But the point, like, so yeah, but like, if you're talking to the average girl and you're just trying to date her, then and she's lost, just like you're lost, like, you know, this is a fallen world, then you're not going to get the results you want, sending her roses and like, you know, approaching her from in a way that would have been very effective 50, 60, 70 years ago. That's how I feel about the red pill.
So I mean, in my convo with you earlier, SNEAKO, you said that you could still be red pill and in a relationship. Does the same thing apply to marriage?
Yeah. That's just choosing what you want. It's not about like your decision on women. It's just about accepting the truth of the world.
So then why does it, the whole foundation of it always rely on women being like inferior in some capacity if it has nothing to do with like how you treat women? Like, I feel like that's just not true, right? Like, that seems to be like a really big point. It's like, realize what women are, fucking dumb, worthless idiots that don't like, what are you talking about? Stop changing the rules.
And accepting that we've been programmed since birth and we've been designed to never realize what's really going on. What's really going on is the most powerful people fly out to islands and touch kids. And we all think that they're like good people and we vote, but that's who.
Nobody thinks that they're good people. Everybody in every version of everybody thinks that those people are bad. What are you talking about? Conservatives, progressives, high value male sphere. Everybody has an idea on why the rich suck dick and how they're controlling us in some capacity. Everybody's talking about it. You're not unique. You're not unique. It's what you're saying isn't fucking new. It's been said 18,000 times, 18,000 different ways. And it's good that we talk about it because it's bullshit, but stop pretending that you've woken up from the fucking Matrix when you're saying things that people have been saying for hundreds of fucking years. What are you talking about? It's fucking insane. It's fucking nuts, bro. I swear to God, it's fucking nuts. It really is fucking nuts. It's crazy. You're not unique. Stop pretending that you're fucking unique.
Who runs the world.
This was something I did from the beginning of the conversation. I did see you guys were looking at from very different definitions, or y'all are talking about how, you know, the manosphere talks about dealing with women. When y'all say red pill, that's what I was hearing. When I hear SNEAKO say red pill, he just means
that's what the red pill is in the Matrix.
But
he just means like,
that's why I asked if there's different definitions though, because I've watched videos where people didn't explain red pill the way SNEAKO did. And they said if you're in a relationship,
part of the red pill is saying that we've been designed to simp since birth. We've been designed to. Oh my bad, you're on Twitch.
GTA. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
But the reason I say that though.
Okay, you can say the word simp on Twitch. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, not for nothing. Like, oh, we're on Twitch. I don't want to say anything bad. Like, you literally have somebody who's banned on Twitch on the conversation. Like, you've already fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, you're already kind of like shitting on yourself. So it doesn't really work now at the end.
Because in the videos I've watched, they say once you're in a relationship, you're purple pill because you basically have not accepted the truth because you're willing to take the risk.
I think all of that is, look, you know, just like how different people have different ways they interpret the Bible or, you know, all their ideologies.
Yeah, like some people are okay with gay people getting married. It's true.
I think that's the situation with red pill. I didn't like, people were calling me, I wanted to get married and have kids, and all of a sudden people are calling me blue pill. You feel me? It's like,
SNEAKO's like, yeah, it's okay, and then he's calling it gay. It is kind of gay, bro. He's not wrong. Kind of gay if you think about it. Like, you're better off fucking a guy because the girls fucking dudes. You know what I mean? So your overall body count is much higher when you fuck girls. If you really think about it, that's the gayest part of it. Well, think about it. Like, this girl's been with two guys. You just fucked two guys. If you just fuck one guy in your entire life, that's less gay. Think about it.
Hey, all right. Well, it's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. At the end of the day, the only truth is the truth of the Bible, and that's I'm gonna leave it at that.
Not true.
Oh,
but see,
yeah.
but that's my okay. That's where again, I guess we go back to the concept of red pill because, like you said, what's the end goal of your truth can be a drastically different concept than somebody else. Right. So like that's where I think that the disagreements come along, because in my mind, as long as once more the core beliefs are there, however you decide to exercise them can be up to your own discretion. So if you don't want to get married, and if you don't want to do like if you don't want to get married, have a kid, white picket fence, et cetera, then you can go out and have what SNEAKO's talking about, sitting from women in the kitchen doing whatever. But
I feel like not a lot of guys can have that though. I feel like that's like a big financial thing. You know, you really got to make some money to be able to fucking pull that kind of shit. And I feel like it's just unnecessary, bro. You know,
the core of how did you get to that point?
Like, right? I think that's like a little bit of a problem. Like, it's whatever. If you want to do that, do that. But I think like a lot of it's a young man's thing too, that sex is like a super priority. Like fuck a bunch of different girls, and again, like I don't think it ever goes away, like that desire a little bit, but like you learn self-control, like that's how you fucking operate. But you know what I mean? Because it's not worth it to be fucking around. It's like you're not getting emotionally stimulated in like a way. It's like super necessary for, I think, everybody, not just men. I mean, not just women, but like men too. So.
And there's a structure of how you get to that point based off of truths of your own beliefs. So to me, that, if I'm understanding, that was red pill. Us disagreeing on, again, what I would consider to be the nuances, to me is just an ongoing conversation. And I think that there's no real. I think that's where I guess
it's realizing that men are disadvantaged in terms of relationships. We're designed to fail. Marriage is.
I agree with you on that.
What's the end goal of a relationship?
What that means? What does it mean that men are? See, this is one of the problems. Like I don't know what that means, because when SNEAKO comes in conversation with people, he just shrieks rather than being like, well, you know what I mean is this. Like that's. What is that? I actually genuinely want to understand. What do you mean by that? Like, yeah, like women tend to have more like selection when it comes to like who they want to date. Like usually they'll be able to be the ones that want to date, but then like where women decide who people want to fuck, but like men kind of decide who's gonna date, right? Like that's kind of a reality there. Men are the ones that make that decision, like who are we gonna date, because like it's like that sexual selection shit, bro. Because women generally want relationships, men generally want pussy. So if men want to get fucking pussy, like, you know, women have the control over that. But when men want relationships, like, you know, or women want relationships, men usually have control of that. Like there's different generality. Like there's generally different aspects of it, you know?
Relationship with a woman, SNEAKO. And you're in your mind.
Kids.
Huh?
Okay. Having children.
No, yeah, but what is that? Does that amount to a marriage with the woman?
No, marriage is done in the West. It's all designed. You're designed to fail. I'm not going to give child support and alimony to some random hoe.
See, I disagree. I believe.
Listen, don't marry a random hoe. Like, what do you talk? It's the way you talk about this. Marriage is a scam. I'm not going to give child support to a random hoe. So don't marry a hoe. And you go like, what? Find somebody that you love. You're being so fucking ridiculous, dude. It's crazy.
That to me is where the nuance is. But calling me a fence sitter because I disagree with that, and I may more so side with Chris, to me doesn't make any sense.
So why do you think I should go to therapy?
No, but I don't think marriage is red pill. Hold on. And look, this is, I think, where like these kind of nuances.
No, I don't think it's red pill either. What I'm saying is, I think the core value of what we're saying is that we got to. So if I decide after the core value of hard work, integrity, morals, or whatever, making money, whatever it is, if the end goal of that to me was getting married, having kids, and I don't think that's wrong, but SNEAKO may think that that's wrong, and so that's his point of view and his opinion. And my opinion is no, that's fine, and vice versa.
The red pill is not really about your opinion about these things. It's about realizing that we're all programmed and we're all pawns in the system, and the stuff that we argue about, like fucking pro-life,
I'm ready
pro-choice.
to retire the red pill. And I'm ready to retire. I'm ready to retire all of these like coded. Like I'm ready to here's like.
Well, like obviously they're not ready to retire it because like that's their whole ideology that gets centralizes around. So they can't really retire it right now because that's like that means everything to them. It's like I think a lot of the red pill is just like, hey, I want to identify with something, and the same way a lot of other people are. So
it started off like everything else, right?
I think that's a big part of it is like having a community. Like I'm part of the red pill. I'm a Democrat. I'm a Republican. I'm a fucking neo-Nazi. I'm a fucking lefty. I'm a communist. It's just a lot of people who really want something to identify with, you know?
I mean, even the word woke once upon a time had some good function to it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like everything gets ruined and it gets convoluted and eventually nothing means anything and it means everything. It means whatever you want it to, like being a woman or a man. You know what I'm saying? Those words don't mean none no more. But
I believe that's
OD.
The whole red pill thing. I feel like the point we all agree on, and this is what started that is that as in society, what is being created now is that people are being herded into saying what's appropriate and doing what's appropriate, and that's what SNEAKO had the initial agreement, right?
I guess
so. Then we come to this part where we say, okay, even if you have a truth, at least say it and mean it and stand on it authentically. Fair, yeah. Whether we agree, disagree, whether you're right or wrong, whether you match with the data or whether the data disagrees with you, at least be authentic and genuine about when you're doing that. So that was SNEAKO's whole take on that of like, well, any moment that you shave some off the top.
Yeah, but I don't think it's that. I don't think it's just that, because it seems like if you disagree with them, they instantly think that you're like fucking grifting. Like, I think that's the problem too, is that like if you don't agree with them, then you're just not being honest with yourself or anybody else. Like, you know what I mean? It feels like that's what they're saying. Like, because anytime he's like, I don't listen to the people because they're just wrong and I'm tired of hearing it. It's like, okay, so you never think that anybody is like genuine. It's just kind of like a weird thing, bro.
or slim it down or shake it up a little bit just to be appropriate or politically correct.
There are so many people who did like black squares in the bio. Just so that they can be like, oh, I'm woke, I care. You don't really fucking care though. You don't take the time to sit down and educate yourself on a goddamn fucking thing. Like you don't really give a shit about anything. You pretend to because it does give you like social currency, right? That's like a big thing with it. But you don't actually give a fuck, right?
Is the moment you submit to the matrix or whatever you want to be in a bot or whatever the case may be. You fall into the line rather than shake it up and make some noise and say, here's what I feel, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right.
But I think from our end is that if you consider what we're doing shaving, I don't think that it's necessarily shaving. I think it's more so making sure that.
I consider that. But
no. But I know, for sure. I don't think it's disingenuous. I think that before we speak about something, we want to make sure we're properly informed and not just jump out the window and say something based on what we feel.
Between being objective and
that's where I ended the stream. That's where I ended the stream. Because personally, yes, do I believe that? Going back to what you said about the whole male and female, yeah, I don't think that somebody can just wake up.
Bro, I want to talk to any one of them about this topic, except for maybe SNEAKO. Like, I think that anybody else there could have like a real decent conversation. I feel like talking to SNEAKO about anything nuanced is just a fucking waste of time, to be honest with you. I'd like to talk about, I probably Playback would be like the best one. Even Young Don, I think that they actually listen to what people are saying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know I've been pretty critical of Young Don, but like, even after that conversation about Christianity, like, he was like, some of the stuff was a little weird, but he was open to like a reasonable conversation, you know what I mean? Yeah, Young Don's all right, you know? I'm just generally very critical when I make my commentary. I don't think he's a bad guy, though. He's been, at least now, he's been listening more. Oh, fuck, I'm dead. Oh, fuck my mother's asshole. He's been pretty open. Fuck. Yeah, you bitch. You fucking missed. But see, I don't, like, this is the problem, is I really love talking to people I disagree with. I think it's so much fun. It's really, it's engaging, and I think that it provides me an opportunity to be able to, like, change people's minds in a really good way. I think that if I talk to Young Don, I think I could at least change his audience's mind in some capacity about some shit. The problem is that, like, I don't think SNEAKO is, like, there for any real conversation. I don't think he has the ability to talk about anything, like, serious. I think he's too immature. I'm not trying to throw shade. I do genuinely think he's just too immature to have a conversation with. He's not going to listen, and it's like it's completely like it's unproductive. And like talking to him about anything would probably be like a pretty decent it's kind of, dude, every time, like, it's bro, I'm not trying to be a fucking asshole, but like talking to SNEAKO is like almost always going to be a slam dunk, because you're it's like talking to like a fucking, and he's not a Nazi, but it's like talking to a neo-Nazi. You can't really lose that conversation because the person like is just fucking insane and unhinged, right? It's kind of like that, bro. So it's like I'm not really interested in fucking slam dunk conversations. They're not really fun. You know, he's just like not open to like a real fucking chat. You know?
Wake up one day and think that they're a totally different gender. But I'm not gonna come out and say it.
That's obviously not how it works. Like, nobody wakes up and goes, "Oh shit." Something that usually sits with people for a while, and it takes them a long time to come to like the realization. But okay. No, I'm dead. No, do
the actual research about what I'm saying, because we made that mistake before, being completely wrong, had to take down the video, and we hold an audience where we don't want to be just spewing things that could potentially be legitimately incorrect. I think that's way more damning.
Let me say this.
Just something that is incorrect.
All right, separate but related, right? Okay. So I came across you guys, like, I've been watching y'all before I even started doing reactions. In fact, y'all, I really enjoyed a lot of you guys' earlier content, and even some of your new content. Even, I guess the thing is, let's say I watch 4 Hassan Nabi videos in a row, right? Or whatever.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, this guy just got it wrong. This guy's just like crazy, and he just got it wrong. Something's wrong with him, right? His worldview. But then I watch you guys, and then it does that. I remember at some point in the past I have no reason to have any ill will or anything towards you guys. Do you feel me? But at just some point in the past, consuming y'all's content, I got a fence riding vibe. I got a like compromising or self-censorship vibe. Now it could be wrong, but I think this is where some of that energy that SNEAKO has is coming from, because in all honesty, I felt it too, and I had no reason. This is before y'all ever like criticized me or anything. Like, I was like, and I stopped watching y'all's content as much because I was like, some feel off here. Some feel like
what is more genuine about like having a take and then this, like, having an extreme.
I wonder why they think that. I wonder why. I mean, I guess there's a couple of times maybe that, I don't know. Okay, all right.
Take and seeing everything else as not the truth. Because I feel like I think we could all agree that life is nuanced. A lot of life is a gray area.
It's not that I wanted y'all to have an extreme take. It's just that I just remember at some point in time feeling a sense of inconsistency with worldviews. Like, you know what I mean? And maybe I was wrong. Maybe I interpreted that wrong. I'm just saying, maybe there's something there if SNEAKO and I separately came to the same conclusion in terms of how we were consuming your content. You know what I mean? I can enjoy content from people that I disagree with. It's not that I need y'all to disagree with me or to agree with me, and it's not that I need y'all to go off the deep end and like start, because that's never been y'all have never been to like just talk out of the side of your neck being crazy. But at some point in your content creation, it started to feel like, you know who else did that? In my opinion, Philip DeFranco. I don't know if y'all, he's a goated old school classic.
The best example of that is H3H3 Productions. Yo, he sucked.
He's an extreme.
And he used to be controversial. He used to not give a fuck. He used to be funny back in the day. He was my favorite YouTuber. Huh? Yeah, he became completely just like following. I remember he made that video saying like, I voted for Hillary Clinton, and then it was over. Yeah, and then now it's just a pussy ass grown man who sounds like a 17-year-old TikTok girl.
Oh my, bro, it's so funny how much heat H3 gets, bro. It's crazy because like honestly, there are definitely there's some things that I find like honestly like pretty problematic by H3. Like especially like the fresh and fit like thing like that like I don't like fresh and fit, but like him pushing those accusations was like really bothered me as somebody who tries to like, you know, advocate, especially to young men, about those topics. But it's funny because I feel like part of it's like I think Ethan used to kind of dunk on like crazy like lefty kind of people, and he probably never like held that view firm. Like I don't like left leaning shit. Like I've always been left leaning consistently. And politically, socially, everything. But I used to like dunk on fucking like lefties all the time, and then people they just look at that. They're like, you hate women too. It's like, bro, I'm just making a fucking joke. I've always been like pretty consistent with my political views. No, you've changed. It's like, yeah, because I think my advocacy is more important than my fucking jokes now. I feel a little bad for Ethan, but also, you know, whatever. It's kind of funny when people shit on him.
And what's so ironic is that I'm gonna just speak for me. I agree, well, not the whole changing being what Chris just said. I agree because ironically, I think.
But some people just get older too. Let's be honest.
One of the Andrew Tate videos, I was like, bro, y'all citing what H3 said about Andrew Tate is so fucking brain dead. That doesn't make any sense.
He's a human trafficker.
That's genuinely absurd, right?
We reacted to that, didn't we?
No, we put it in the Andrew Tate video.
Oh, okay.
But so like stuff like that, yes. So I agree. So I'm gonna just break the ice with Chris. I'm gonna just do it. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of things that I think you're expressing is a misconception or misunderstanding what we're saying. For example, the back and forth but the disagreement that we have, for example. Mm-hmm. When I was in the video and I was saying that why are we speaking of extremes, it wasn't me calling your view extreme. It was actually, ironically, it was me calling Rage and Dante saying extreme, because when we talk about that topic, why do we have to jump out the realm and talk about that form of extreme? Why can't we just speak about that topic? Why is everything about that's what I was calling extreme. Your beliefs, I'm Christian, so ironically,
I talk about abortion. I'm not wondering what they're talking. I'm wondering what they're talking about. I'm a little confused. I think abortion.
The things that you believe in, I have no problem with it at all. I grew up around it, so I don't really have a problem with what you're saying. I was just saying, why is it every single time we speak about, I can say abortion, why is it that we have to immediately go to that example? That is an extreme example that doesn't make any sense. If you want to make an argument about something, you can stay in the middle of it. Like you can use actual factors about it. Now, me and you are disagreeing about the process and actually if it's morally correct or not. We can disagree on that. But what I was calling extreme wasn't your viewpoint. I wasn't calling that extreme. So again, I think a lot of things are just misunderstood and a massive misconception about what somebody's saying.
We just get on camera and we just be chatting, huh?
So, yeah, I think so.
All right, word.
What?
So yeah, no, and that's why
I don't. Okay, so weird. Okay.
I wanted to come on y'all's podcast, you know, in August, right? I'm assuming that's still on. Is that still on? I have no.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't have a problem with it. It's fine.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, no. You know, because I felt like there was conversation and dialogue to be had. You know, whenever people just be reacting back and forth, you know, some things get, you know, lost in translation.
For sure.
Yeah, and
I think that's what potentially could have happened as well when listening to our whatchamacallits, because I mean, even when I'm going back and I'm looking at our videos, I don't really understand the concept of what SNEAKO was saying. How we have a red pill video.
That was just a vibe, bro. You know, and that might have just been a season. I don't know. I remember one before y'all.
Can you give me an example? Give me an example.
I couldn't give you a specific example. I just remember there was a point where my chat loved Playback. I liked watching Playback. I would watch Playback off stream.
Yeah, shout out Playback, shout out Peer to Peer.
And then and then
God, man.
you know, at some point, I just felt like the vibe changed, and I don't know. I felt like it had to do. It was around the Fresh and Fit era when y'all were going back and forth, and I don't know. I just felt like there was some, I don't know, inconsistencies that I didn't. You know, I mean, it's your stream, bro. If you want to,
I'm gonna speak.
Really.
No, but let me say that. I'll even speak to that. Ironically, about the Fresh and Fit, and we've said this as well. There's several things that they say that we agree upon. So it's not as if like we inherently disagree with them. The whole thing started with us going back and forth about that story that they told about an NBA player in Miami and all that. A story that just sounded a bit far-fetched.
It was just fake.
Yeah, it sounded fake. After that, though, we did not make
They told me that shit was all real.
Of course they did. After that, though, we didn't say anything else to them until they called Preach's wife just going crazy, just doing crazy shit. That was like, all right, you bugging. Then after that, it was the whole.
Yeah, no, but I'm not saying my problem was with what y'all said about Fresh and Fit. I'm just saying I just remember it was around that time that I started like, I don't know, like something just was off. But at the end of the day, like SNEAKO saying, I don't think there's no more juice to squeeze out of this, bro.
Can we argue about something more?
Yeah.
Hey,
you know,
call me crazy or something.
Let's talk about the Matrix.
I'm literally looking at what happened at the Fresh and Fit. We then had another video, I guess, making fun of Modern Woman. Then had a Brittany Renner video making fun of Modern Woman. Then had another one making fun of Modern Woman. Yeah. Then had another one making fun of Modern Woman. Then we had an experimental one where we talked about Tyrese making that crazy ass audition video. Then it was another video talking about Modern Woman. Older women are jealous of 14-year-old girls. Then it was a race video about how somebody trying to be transracial or whatever. Like it was like that's what I'm saying. When y'all say these things,
thanks, Frank.
I don't really know where y'all are coming from, because literally right after the last Fresh and Fit video we did, literally it's all about making fun of Modern Women.
You know what it feels like, Chris?
No reason to like y'all. You feel
Chris?
No. I got what you're saying.
Chris, you know what that feels like? You know what that feels like? That feels like when people tell SNEAKO, "Oh, you've changed, man. You're not the old SNEAKO." It's like nobody like. I was watching your stream where you were reacting to that stuff, SNEAKO, and I feel you, bro, because at the end of the day, people are going to...
Well, didn't you just say before that you did say that he changed before? Like, what are you talking about? Wait, what? You should agree with that point, because you literally made that point like 10 minutes ago. What are you talking about? Is he pretending he never made that point now?
Like, when time passes, I think people change, and maybe the content they consume changes, but they kind of, like, project that on you. I was watching it, because a lot of content creators go...
That is possible, bro.
But I didn't see what people saw, because I thought, even though your content might have changed a little bit in format, in just the way you create your content might have changed, you as a person, you've been pretty consistent and critical. So, like, you're telling me about this feeling you guys both had, but... I don't know. I guess I have to see evidence of it. I don't feel like we've ever censored ourselves to the point where 2 people out of 3 in a room are just noticing it. But I mean, if you guys can pull up examples, that's fine. I think it's
enough of the content to make that point. But I think with the gist of what they're saying is like when people start to put
I see what they're saying.
So that they try to like navigate. But then y'all also said that y'all do that for financial reasons.
No, we upload the uncut shit on Patreon. Like, this shit still goes up. It's just not on the same platform y'all watch.
I also want to say this. A lot of the times when I'm censoring myself, it's not for me, it's for other people who don't necessarily want me to tell their business. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it's something that happened to me, if somebody else is there, I'm not going to sit there and say something that somebody else may not be comfortable with sharing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like 99% of the time when I'm censoring myself. It's for somebody else's anonymity.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a problem with that. I don't think there's a problem with that. If nobody should be, bro. Do
you guys want to talk about the Matrix? I want to add this guy. They call him like the real life Neo. He's really been like teaching me a lot of stuff. I went to Puerto Rico and visited him. He's like a crypto millionaire, Luke Belmar. He's like one of the smartest people I've ever met. He's going to get on 5 minutes. Do you guys want to hear what he has to say?
He's going to go in 5 minutes or 5 minutes?
Okay. 5 minutes. He's going to get on 5. He's prepping right now.
I would love to learn about the Matrix, man. Only information I have about the Matrix is through social.
I think that Luke guy is the kid that would just kept like, he's not that intelligent. He was trying to have a conversation about the morality in TikTok. Or he was trying to talk. We were talking about moral values, and he's pointed to China as a place with good moral values. And his whole idea was because in China they basically run propaganda on their TikTok rather than allowing it to be free in America. And I get what they're saying, right? I didn't get what he was saying then because he wasn't intelligible. He wasn't actually saying anything. He was just screeching like a kid. But like, yeah, he was trying to say like, yeah, in China that they promote like good work ethic, blah, blah, blah. they don't have any freedom on fundamentally for like anything in the Chinese, like in their Chinese media, because they're not a free country with free speech or expression. So I was talking about it from a moral perspective. I'm not saying that there aren't like some positives. Overall, it's better to be in America. And I was like, yeah, workers don't have basic human rights. You can't really point to them as a moral center. And he's like, oh, why? Because they don't respect like gay people or something. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm just talking about like workers, non-gay people. Like, yeah, they don't. You're better off, but you're more free in a fucking America. But like they don't respect. I'm gonna die. They don't fucking respect like people. Like the workers are they're fucking horribly oppressed, right? So I mean, the idea like he's super smart. Like to you, that's okay. He's not that smart, but all right.
I want to hear somebody who's informed. Like this is definitely someone who's informed. Like we have the same opinions, we have the same worldview, but he's smarter than me, and he doesn't yell as much, and people don't call him crazy. So it's a good balance.
I think I see him when
he's just as fucking stupid. Like he was molding to like a child. In our conversation, like when they don't really have anything intelligent to say, they just say like, oh, you're fat, you're fat, you're fat, because they're incredibly fucking stupid. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and another special shout out to all my Patreon and Twitch subs. If you'd like to support this channel further than you already have by just watching the video alone, go down to the links below where you can sub on my Patreon, which will allow you to get your name on this beautiful black wall. Or you can go to the Twitch page and you can actually use a free Amazon Prime sub, if you have Amazon Prime, to subscribe. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.